All right. So this is kind of the course overview. So we're going to start off in Spark Your Career. So basically, begins with a lot of like mindset, um, thinking about how to set up your business. But then as the courses go on, it goes into like how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how to do a CMA, how to price your listing, things like that. So it starts off a little bit fluffier and more mindset, but then it gets more into the minutia of real estate. So if today isn't what you were expecting, it will be later.
Today is going to be what you're expecting because we're here. Okay. So, okay, we're going to start with this quote. Obviously, a lot of this stuff we'll read, you can follow along. But again, like I said, if you want to make a comment about it or any like real life situations that you want to discuss or talk to us about, you can do that too. So, anyone can do it. Not everyone will. Will you? Hey, you're all here, so that's a really good start. So this quote is from one of Gary Keller and his team's published books. As you all know, or maybe you don't, that Gary Keller is the co-founder and chairman of KWX and Keller Williams Realty. He is one of the most influential people in the world in real estate, and that is probably the strongest truth ever. If you follow Gary or if you've seen Gary speak, he is down to earth, yet smart, and knows how to run this company so well. And but he puts his faith in other people as well, which is a
Mhm.
really good thing. So he's not always the shining star standing up on stage. He has so many leaders with him, beside him, above him, that he has put his company's hands in. And those are the things that as you go along and you decide to go to those training sessions or family reunion or mega camp, or I've been to both, so has Aaron many times. They are super beneficial. Yes, there's a lot, so it's overwhelming and maybe not at the beginning of your career, but along the lines you'll see Gary speak and he's great. So real estate is a wonderful business and one where you can make a lot of money, run your own successful enterprise, achieve your biggest dreams. Um, it's a lot of work. Trust me. I mean, when I started my career in 2002 is when I got licensed. I did not have a life. I spent every waking weekend in an open house, Saturdays and Sundays trying to, figure out how to kickstart this career. It takes some money to start this career. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of training. But dig into that. Like Keller Williams is one of the best companies for training. We offer something, if not every day, every week. Go to those training sessions.
Yeah.
Really go. I can't stress that enough. Because you're like sponges right now. You're learning, you're asking questions. And if it's offered to you at your company, go to it. There's no excuse not to because you can sit in front of us and we can ramble on and talk, but you're going to learn something. You really are.
Yeah.
And it's something different every week. And that's I still want to go to it. Even the NSAR training, like those are on your dashboard. Those are things that you should really, really, truly go and do because you're paying those fees. You're paying for those sessions. So just go and listen to them and you can do it in your home. They're
Yeah.
on your dashboard.
Just a
Um
question.
yeah,
It's like a lot of full-time realtors, like they have a full-time job and
yeah,
then doing this as well.
yeah.
So how do you suggest we go there?
Okay, well, and that's a good way to start too. But I really truly think that you have to um really focus on that on your time that you've put aside for real estate. You have to really treat it as a job. So if you're working a full-time day job, you got to work at night.
Right.
So there's things that we have offered here, Ignite After Dark.
Mhm.
Those are things that cater to somebody who has another career as well. And hopefully that transition will maybe bring you to a point where you're full-time in real estate.
Mhm.
Understandably that some people have to have another job right now to start, and that's mad respect for you for doing that because it would be hard. That's 2 jobs you have.
Yeah.
But your weekends have to center around that. Your pick 2 hours of the day where you're lead generating. So, could be in front of your computer with your pajamas on, talking to your sphere of influence. We'll talk about that in today's course. But like you know, you have to dedicate those hours to that. Don't just say, okay, I'm done at 5 o'clock, my other job, and now I'm bored and I don't really want to do real estate because I'm tired. You really have to like,
Yeah.
maybe say 7 to 9 is your real estate hours or something like to start, but you have to pencil it in.
Yeah.
But
It is something like this business, you do have to apply yourself, especially in lead generation. We're going to talk a lot about lead generation today.
Yeah.
That's really what this business is generating leads, right? And then once you can convert those leads, then it turns into the other piece of the business.
Work on Sundays with your other job? Okay, so maybe that could be your real estate day. And then, you know, there's always online, there's always people asking for open houses or, you
Yeah.
know, shadowing somebody at an open house or going with me to an open house and like learning that stuff. That's all free stuff,
yeah,
you know? And you can basically take other people's business and take your time and go and sit there and ask me, Allison, do you have an open house I can do on Sunday? I'd gladly say yes.
Allison always has open
I have-
houses to be done.
every weekend I could put you in an open house.
Okay.
So those are the things that you have to like, you have to figure that out. But when I tell you, when I started my career, I worked with a realtor. Her name is Sandra Bryant. She's one of the best. And she put me in an open house every Saturday and Sunday. And did I have a small child at home? I did, but I was like, I have to go. And I did it and I hated it. But I did it. And it was 1 to 4. She had me in like an open house that was like a model home every weekend off Williams Lake Road, and I'll never forget it. But I got to meet people and talk to people because half of this business is talking to people, and you have to learn how to talk to people. So when they come in, can, you know, practice. Will it end up into a lead right away? Maybe not, but maybe dedicate your weekends to open houses to start.
but
My husband is a realtor here. And when he started out, he started part-time because we couldn't just go down to my income only. So he kept his full-time job at a car dealership, got his real estate license, worked evenings and weekends in real estate. At one point, he was calling in sick to his real job to meet his real estate needs. And it just came to the point that he was like, I have to choose. I'm going to get fired
Yeah.
from the dealership. So I need to choose.
That's a good progression. That means he worked hard to
Yeah.
get where, and now he's working full-time in real
Yeah,
estate.
now he's full-time in real estate.
But again, we understand that not everybody is ready to give up that full-time job, and that is absolutely okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a realtor, then you have to put in that extra time.
Yeah. Like,
Don't
I
get
understand
tired.
that
Even if you're
firsthand.
tired, just do it. You know, you all live in a neighborhood, all talk to your neighbors, socialize, go to a party, wrote your cards. You know, my friends used to tease me because they were like, every time we have dinner with you, you have a new card for us. You're giving us a card again. And I'm like, yeah, I know. This is really fun, isn't it? Okay, so again, the quote, anyone can do it. Sure. And not everyone will, for sure, but will you? So again, it's my point. Just make sure that you're
Yeah.
you're dedicating your real estate hours to like it's like your other job. Okay. Okay. Anybody want to share their thoughts on that?
Me wanting to like follow the rules and Allison talking too much. Not too much. Enough.
I trust by the end of Ignite, you will be lit up with possibilities of your own successes.
All right.
It's
So
only supposed to be a minute. It was
I
like-
know. All right. So the 6 personal perspectives. So Gary Keller, we're going to talk a lot about Gary Keller today. It does peter off later in the course, but he interviewed mega agents and then sat down to figure out what most common things were that they do that made them mega agents. So he then came up with the 6 personal perspectives. So it says here, he asked himself, what is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish as much? So from interviewing them and asking himself that question, this is how he came up with the 6 personal perspectives. So the first one is commit to self-mastery.
Okay, that's me. Okay, so first perspective that all high achievers share, and that's all of you, because we're all high achievers, is to commit to self-mastery. Notice it's not commit to mastery, it's commit to self-mastery. So do you know what the difference is? Okay, self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. So every morning you have to wake up, and it took me a long time to do this, and I feel like I've kind of got there after many, many years, but I do the same thing every day. I get up at the same time, I do the same routines in the morning, I lead generate at the same time every day. And it's super important to know your what you can do in a day. So those are where your habits come in. Habits every single day. So for you, you're waking up, you're going to your other job, and then you're going to make your habits at night to be your other job. And then your weekend habits are going to be habits. Okay. So then that will turn your habits into skills. And that's when you're going to get better at what you're doing. But make it a routine. And when I say I do that every day, I truly do. Like I do the same things every day, unless I'm, have appointments, but they have, if you saw most of you have your phones and you're very techy. I have my day planner, and my day planner is got scratch on it, and I check mark it and I highlight it, and I do the same
And
thing every
it's
day.
chaos.
It's absolute chaos, but that's my skill. And I feel like I've mastered it in 20 years, and it works for me. So always know your goals. Well, obviously all are sitting here because you have a goal to be a realtor, and
A successful realtor.
yeah, and you want to do it, and it's your passion. So set that, know your goals, follow that every single day. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Nobody knows that better than me. I've got a lot of strength and I have a lot of weaknesses, but I feel like that's not a bad thing. There's some things I'm good at, there's some things I'm not good at. I don't like open houses. I would love if you all did my open houses, because I don't want to do them anymore. I've done them so much. So I don't want to door knock, but you should be doing it. Those are those things. So know what you like and what you don't like. If you figure out what you like in this business, that's going to keep you here. If you complain every day about what you don't like, move that out of your schedule and just focus on the
Find
positive.
something that works. Chris, you do
Yeah.
a lot of door knocking, right?
Oh, no, I hate doing
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was
me
you who
too.
did a ton of door knocking.
Yeah. But
starting to say, oh my.
Yeah.
I'm like, What,
Yeah.
what to do?
Mhm. Perfect.
And-
And what is
and
it
that's
that you
good.
do?
I do a lot of online lead generation. I love doing open houses. Yeah, and I love the networking. Neighborhood. So yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that
then know your strengths, know your
Mhm.
weaknesses, and don't be disappointed if takes a bit to get there to find out what those strengths and weaknesses are.
Chris, when you did try door knocking, were you good at it because you hated it so much, or were you not so great at it, so you pivoted and found something else?
It's like I'm gonna skip that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go waited.
If it's something that you dread, you're not going to do it well. Right? So move on and find something else that's going to work.
Okay, so I guess, are you committed to self-mastery? We're all here. So obviously you are, perfect that, get working on it. Know your goals, know your strengths, your skills, your habits for this business. It's just simply that. Just figure out who you are and what you want to do as a realtor in this industry, because we all know it's going to take some time. Like I said, I'm 23 years in the business, and sometimes I feel like I'm just starting. And, I have all of that experience behind me and all of those hours that I put in, but I feel like now it's starting to work. Scary to think that 20 years later, sometimes it takes that long for you to really figure out what you want to do and where you want to be in this industry. Okay.
Tack on a quick thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Yes, please, if ever you have anything to add.
I'll stay here till 3:30. This is part. So if you're like me, if you've come through a 9-to-5 job and stuff, real estate will show your weaknesses like other business. Like I've let $1 million global companies and all that. You do real estate, your business for yourself. Show early, and you have to be honest and brutal about that to say, wow, didn't realize the support systems I had that hid this weakness of mine because I really suck at.
Yeah.
And embrace it and say, how do I get better? Here, you
Yep.
training, you ask realtors, you
Mhm.
to your mentor, so it's an industry I've been in that immediately shows you what your weaknesses are.
100%.
Yeah.
And it could just be like how to answer rude people because we deal with them every single day. And sometimes, that's like, oh, the person you used to be wants to answer this way. And then the person you are now, and after you're trained, knows how to answer differently. So like so many little things about this business that you really truly have to like focus on because we're dealing with people every day. Social media can be a demon. It could be a winner. It could be scary. It could help your business. It could not help your business. So like so many little things, but your skills and your habits are going to form all of that stuff. So make sure, like, think about me when you wake up in the morning and be like, okay, Allison told me to have a set schedule every day. But honestly, like we think, oh, we're self-employed. I can do my laundry at 2 o'clock and I can go for a walk at 3, but just put that in your schedule.
Yeah.
Like the Jen from 8 to 10 laundry and, whatever, call 5 contacts from 11 to 12 and then go for your lunch walk or something, but make sure it's in your schedule.
You'll hear a lot in KW. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So if you say in your, yeah, I know I have to lead generate for 2 hours a day. If it's not in your calendar, it's so easy to ignore, right? But if I use Google Calendar, if you use a notebook, whatever, however you run your calendar,
Yeah.
pops up and says, okay, lead generation time. Like, okay, put everything else away, close your emails, stop answering emails, and focus on lead generation.
I keep hearing lead generations. I suppose there are different ways of doing it.
100%,
Yes.
yeah.
No, we don't get into lead generation too much today, just the importance of lead generation.
Carl's notes version of that would be, go through your social media, call one person and just introduce yourself, mail out a few cards. Lead generation is anything that you, for your business, want to do. So like I do 8 to 10 in the morning every day. I'll sit in front of my computer. I'll go through, whatever I need to do. Social media is huge for that. I love Facebook. So I go through my Facebook and I say hi to my clients, go into the social sites for your community, make a comment, put up a post, something like whatever you feel for you that you'd like to do, focus on that. You're starting, so maybe call 5, pick a day, maybe every 2 days you're picking 5 people in your phone. This is like your best database ever. Pick 5 of your people and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I just want to remind you that I'm a realtor now. If whatever you want to do for your is what you want to do, but it has to be in that calendar. Just does, or it's not going to happen.
All right. So the next perspective is called the 80-20 principle. So the idea is that 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. And it can be applied to most everything. It's about getting the most from your time and effort, and it's about maximizing your results and being focused. So you'll hear a lot of people say, what's your 20%? That means like, what makes you money? What makes you successful? What do you need to focus on? You'll also hear them called big rocks and the one thing. Or one thing that gets talked about a lot in KW. Chris is nodding. He's like, yes, I've heard all this already. And so for realtors, especially starting out realtors, your one thing or your 20% is lead generating. That's what's going to make you money. Showing houses, writing contracts, yes, they make you money, but you're not going to get to those steps if you're not doing the lead generation beforehand. So it says here, in Ignite, we identify your 20% for you. Your dollar productive activity is lead generation. When you commit to this, you will make more money, have more time with your family, and be more organized.
Always refer back to this because I have a love-hate relationship with like going to the gym, and obviously you don't, but that's okay. So I always, my trainer has always said to me, 80% of this and 20% of this. So 80% is your nutrition and 20% is at the gym. So it's kind of like the same mentality, like 20% of what you do every day is going to get you that 80%. So, it's not rocket science. We all know that we have to eat healthy to maintain, go to the gym, all that stuff. So it's the same in real estate. If you're not putting in your 20% or more, you're not going to get the results. So it's just common sense, really. Have you read the book, The One Thing? You all read it? Okay, good. Did you like it?
Sure, like,
Yeah.
but
And you like to read, grab it. I think they're probably back there on the bookshelf. I mean, we have a little library back there. You know, just go through it, maybe read a chapter a day. That could be in your lead gen. You know, that book is really good. That would be the one I would suggest starting out with,
Yeah.
because the next book is really, really, I had a hard time getting through them. But the one thing is good. So, you know, read a chapter a day as part of your lead generation. I totally suggest it, and it's good. It'll give you some good insight on starting out.
Right, so the next one is called Move from E to P. So that's entrepreneurial to purposeful. So the idea of this one is everybody has a natural ability, whether it be being a business owner, being a realtor, athlete, like whatever it is, everyone has some sort of natural ability for that. But with just your natural ability alone, you're going to climb up, get better, but you're going to hit a ceiling. You need to become purposeful and focus on it and work on it, practice it, which will break you through the ceiling and become purposeful. So if you think of, I think in here it talks about circus performer, but like, so let's think about Sidney Crosby. Everyone here should probably knows who he is. He obviously has tons of natural ability. We all know that. There's no argument against that. But if he didn't practice and if he didn't have a coach, do you think he would have made it to the NFL? Probably not. Like you need to practice, you need to be coached, you need all the things to break through what you could do naturally on your own. That makes
This
sense?
is a really tough career that I mean, I think we all know that. Everybody does it differently. Everybody has different personalities, and your clients all have different personalities too. So
Mhm.
the being, you know, knowing what you're talking about is what's going to help you. I could be the nicest person in the world, but then I show up and I don't know any of the stats of my neighborhood, and they're like, "Oh, geez," because they all have different personalities too. So I seem to attract all the like fluffy, nice people who want to hug at the end of a listing appointment, which I think is great. But her husband, on the other hand, is a super stats guy, and he could probably do anything in anybody's house and fix anything. That's
And if a
not
client
me.
tried to hug him, he'd be like, "Okay, we're not doing this."
Yeah. So you have to remember that, you know, everybody has different purposes and everybody is there for a different reason. So yeah, you really have to know what you're talking about.
This course doesn't go into the disc profiles at all. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Chris probably does. Matthew probably does. Yeah. So we do run disc also every now and then. When you see it on the calendar, make sure you come take it. So disc profiling. So it classifies 4 different kind of personality groups, D, I, S, and C. And so when Melissa usually runs it, and she talks about like if you're S personality, here's how you have to modify yourself when you're speaking with a C personality, right? So it's really good, really helpful. So when you're dealing with clients that are not like you, to know how to kind of shift your language and your behaviors, and also helps you quickly identify what type of personality the person you're speaking with has.
And it helps identify you too.
Yeah.
So it like I thought it was really great because I understood when I did it when I first started here. I've done it twice now too, and it was the exact same the second time too. I haven't changed at all. But again, it Karen said it will help you sit in front of somebody, and if Joe from your listing appointment is a high D, well, you're going to change your perspective on how you're talking to him, and you're going to be a D for that appointment,
Yeah.
and then you're going to
You
walk
gotta
out
get
and go
through
home.
everything quickly and don't waste any of his time.
So I always laugh because Jerry, who's on my team, Murphy, who is, you know, I think you all know who Jerry is. He's a high D, and we will not go to listing appointments together ever, ever. He will never take me. I will never take him. We do everything separate because he wants to be in and out in 3 minutes, and I would be there for 2 hours. So, you know, if there was ever a time where we had to like help each other, it doesn't happen often, but if there was ever a time that we had to help each other, it would be me and Annette going, and we would be best friends with our clients. But Melissa and Jerry would go for his appointments. I would never go with him. That would just be like painful and lovely at the same time because we know our personalities.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's me.
Yep.
Okay, the 4th perspective is an obvious one, and you're already doing it by being here today. I'm going to say that a lot. Like the first step you guys have made is being here, and that's great. You've committed to this Ignite program, and good for you because that Takes time, but again, do it. Learning-based individual appreciates learning from their own improvements. They know what they know and know there is always more to know. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, I've been in this business a lot. I've worked with some of the best realtors in the city, and that is the God's honest truth. They have taught me a lot, but still feel like every day I'm learning. Every time I pick up the phone, my clients are teaching me something different that I'm like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't, you know." So we're learning every single day, whether you're 23 years in the business or just starting. You and I are on the same playing field a lot. We're competing for this, same industry. We're not necessarily competing against each other. Maybe we will one day, but it's equal playing field. Whether you have history or not, we're all learning, okay? Learning-based individuals have made the decision to use effective learning as a foundation piece for their action plan to develop their life. Training and education are a big part of moving forward to attain your goals and succeed at a high level. And again, stressing that to you, come to the training. There's sometimes that we're sitting in here and I'm like, oh my God, there's 280 people in this company. They should all be here. And when I say that, you should, as I learn something new every time I step foot into this office. So it's here for a reason. And for you starting, you should be in these seats.
Mhm.
You absolutely
We
should.
also do record almost every trainings. It depends on the topic. Some things aren't suitable to be recorded. And we upload them to our YouTube channel. So if you are dual career and maybe can't come to every single thing, they are recorded. Now, obviously, it's better if you can be in the room and interact, but if it's not possible, then
Okay,
we
so
do try to record.
This is my advice to you, okay? If you remember anything from today, go at the beginning of the week. Every week they tell you what they're teaching, okay? Put that in your lead gen. Put that in your calendar. Wednesday, I'm coming to that 1 hour training. Friday, I'm doing that 1 hour training. That has to be in your calendar now. Okay, so make that part of your daily. And for you, if you're working all day, find something at night, whether it's on the dashboard for NSAR, just do a 1 hour course because you have to, or you're not going to learn.
Or just go to the recording.
Yes, yeah.
100%. Take
Yeah.
that 1 hour before bed, put your headphones on in your pajamas and your slippers. They're recorded. It makes it super easy for you. Okay. Ignite is just the start for you as a learning-based individual. You will learn about how many more learning opportunities are available. And that, again, is my point. Mark the calendar. Okay. And we're not trying to sell this on you. This is not anything that we're selling to you. You're not paying for this. I mean, again, in your fees, but that's what you're paying your fees for, is to learn. So do that. Okay, so the fifth perspective is remove your limiting beliefs. Oh my God, these are so hard to take away. So because I have this little person on my shoulder and this person, and
Drunk monkey.
yes, and I'm like, here's a good example of limiting beliefs. Okay, I'm a super huge socializer. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm 48 years old. My kids are adults now. I finally have some freedom. And I feel like Saturday nights are my night to socialize. And I go with my husband and we meet with our friends and we have a big friend group. And I had a 9 o'clock appointment at Bishop's Landing on Sunday morning. And I think I got home at 2 a.m. And I'm like, Sim, why did you do this to yourself? And I was like, I wonder how I can get out of this. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I committed to that. I'm doing that. And all my beliefs on my shoulders are like, somebody else can do it. Or why are you doing? I'm so glad I went because I got a listing because showing her something different. And now she's listening. Or if I didn't believe that I could do that, I wouldn't be doing it. Okay, so again, you have to remember that so many people are going to tell you things. You might not agree with it, and you might be like, oh, how do I get out of this? Or I don't want to go and meet that person. I'm really scared of that person. They have a high D personality. So again, figure out a way to get rid of all those securities and being scared and go and do it. Okay. Limiting beliefs. They are thoughts and mindsets that will limit you. I have been through this with so many things. But you just take the training and learn how to get through those, learn how to somebody else teach you how to be better when it comes to your limiting beliefs. Gary Keller's company is huge on that. Because we all have limiting beliefs, no matter what,
Yeah.
in your personal life, in your business, in your other career, with your children, you know, they're there sitting on your shoulder and they're telling you otherwise. And then you just have to have the confidence to break through that, and training will help that. Okay. Um, I don't have time for training. It's the biggest one. Yes, you do. 100% you do. We talked about this too. If it comes to like bigger training that costs money, well, again, ask Erin to hold some money for you in your training account. What do you call it? Your education account. Okay. So like, $100 here and there. Maybe you don't have a closing, but maybe you have some extra money from your job. Send it to Erin, ask her to put it away from you. If you're a spender and you really want the training, there's ways around it. Here's another.
And most of our training is free. So
Yeah, that's what it's here for. I can't be successful in this market. Yeah, you can. As I have been through every crazy market that there has been in HRM since 2002. And I have said it, I'm still here.
okay, how many Ds are there? So there's always reasons people will need to buy or sell their home. And they're all Ds. I think 5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6.
Mhm.
Diapers. So when they have babies, they need a bigger house. They have to move.
Yep.
Diamonds. When people get married, likely they buy or sell a house.
Divorce.
Divorce. Need to probably sell their house and maybe buy 2 more, right? If they can't afford their house, they have to sell it, and debt.
Yep.
People are still gonna die and someone's gotta sell that house. So no matter what the market, people are moving. Something's happening.
And there's fluctuations I went through the 2008 crash, real estate, it's still here. We all went through the COVID craziness. We're all still, well, you're new, but I'm still here. That was scary. It was scary. Yes. Did we work like dogs? Sure. I don't really think it was, good representation of our industry for sure, because it wasn't realistic. However, here we are, we're still here. This is what's going to happen. Okay. But your
I
habits.
think that
And your-
drawing is from a different training about the market and how it.
Yeah. So I can't be successful in this market. Well, yes, you can. You just have to figure out a way to get through it, work your skills, perfect them, make your habits better. Just remember in your mind, in your mindset, that there's always an excuse. There's always going to be an excuse. You just have to get through it. I can't devote 3 hours to lead gen. Well, I look at my phone every night. It reminds me of how many hours I've been on this phone. I'm like, oh shit, that's scary. But that's a lot of lead gen. My husband says to me all the time, oh my God, you're always looking at your phone. Well, that's part of my job. It is. It doesn't matter. Don't feel guilty about that. You're going through your social media, you're checking stuff. Like that's part of your 3 hours. Like that has to be, mark it down. Just be like, oh, I looked at my phone today for 2 hours and I went through my social media. There's your lead gen. Okay. So those are things.
As long as you're interacting on social media. If you're
I
just,
mean, yeah, if you're scrolling through TikTok
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like not really working, well, I'm gonna slap your hand a little bit, but still, like, that's part
if
of your
you're wish people happy birthday on Facebook, it literally tells you it's their birthday and it pre-writes the message for you and you
Oh,
click post.
every morning.
Like-
It gives you a reminder of whose birthday it is.
Yeah.
Make a post.
Yeah.
Message them directly. There's so many things that we can talk
Yeah.
about of examples, but you'll get that training. Like there's,
These things are innately built into your calendar.
yeah.
I always have done those things.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's lead,
Consider-
that's lead gen.
And I can consider them as work.
Yes.
Right. Building
As
relationships,
long as you're
right?
forming habits with
Yeah.
them every day, then yes, 100%.
Now, I'm not saying just because you post on someone's wall wishing them a happy birthday means that they're gonna call you when they wanna sell their house. There's more work than that, but you're more front of mind. If you're commenting on people's posts, liking their posts, you're front of mind, right?
You know how many people I've heard, like not a lot, but I have heard, and I'm on social media a lot and I don't care what they think. I mean, I am successful and busy because of my social media. And have I annoyed a lot of people? Probably, sure. I don't know, not really too worried about it, because they see me a lot on social media and I'm going to continue to do that because it works for me. So that's a limiting belief. Oh, I wonder if Stacy is really annoyed by that latest post. I don't really care. Stacy can get over it. You know what I mean? Like it's part of my day. It's and I'm not overbearing and annoying, but those are my habits and I'm not changing my habits. So you have to find out what habits work for you. And those limiting beliefs are things that you have to overcome. And confidence will help that over time too. Like you will realize what you're good at and what, works for you, and you will continue to do it.
I still on post. I had a question in mind, though it's not related to the limited belief. But in one of the calls of the group coaching, I was hearing someone say that every morning shares a collab link of only new properties that has been listing on his Facebook. So I just had a question, are we legally allowed to do that because those are not my listing or someone else's listing? Like, how do you do it? What's the right way to do
Well,
it?
and I get that call a lot too. So here's an example. If you wanted to share one of my listings, okay, as long, again, that's a broker question, but I feel like the rules are this. If you wanted to share one of my listings and it's on your social media, you have to acknowledge me.
Right.
You have to
Like
acknowledge the
listed
company.
by-
Yep, listed by Allison McPherson, Jerry and Annette Murphy's team, Keller Williams Select Realty, not intended to solicit any agents, blah, blah, blah. So there are rules. You could meet with somebody here and talk about what those rules are. But if you asked me, so I had a realtor the other day ask me if he could share 2 of my listings. I said, absolutely you can, but you have to make sure I'm acknowledged, my team's acknowledged, and the company's acknowledged. And he's a Keller Williams realtor, obviously, but you follow those rules, that person gives you permission and the sellers know that it's being shared too. I think once you learn how to list a house or your listing house, that can be in your parameters too, that, there are rules. Got to follow the rules and you have to have permission. But yes, I don't know if like him taking Paragon and posting it and these are the new listings of the day is that doesn't seem right to me, but it's just a
There's a way, so everyone here would get a website through KW. You could do a search on your website so that it kind of opens a portion of the map wherever you wanted to focus. So let's say it's Bedford. You could say like, if you search Bedford on your website, it's gonna pull up the map and it's gonna have all the dots where all the listings are, right? You could then share that URL. Saves like the search you put in, say like, go the active listings in Bedford kind of thing. Or you could include as in your search, you could put a price range. So if you did like maybe under 750. Houses for sale in Bedford under 750,000 or something like that. You could do it that way.
So that bring up a lot of, maybe, let's say 10 listings.
Yeah.
But how do I acknowledge, like, was there?
You're not really advertising a listing when
Right.
you do it that way. It's sending people to your website. And then once they're on their website, they're going to click around and move the map to where they want it to be. I think that would be okay. Again, I'm not a broker, so I can't say for certain, but I think,
Like,
yeah.
put that on my Facebook page, like, say,
Yeah. So,
10 new listings today.
yeah.
or
Yeah.
10 new listings under 700 today.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I do that a lot on
Mhm.
KW. That's when it's MLS.
Yeah.
MLS feed.
Yeah.
And there's always the listing broker in the listing.
Yeah,
So I say
yeah.
best homes in Truro under 3. Things like
Yeah.
that. And
Right.
it'll say
Yeah.
the parameters. So I filter, I do some vintage home, like mid-century and older homes as well.
Right.
I save that search. They go to the KW page.
And the
Paragon's
website,
Little,
yeah, I wouldn't share Paragon, but the website would take care of like making sure that the listing agent's acknowledged, because that's
Yeah.
on the listing on the website.
if
Yeah,
I woke up in the morning and you and I were friends on Facebook and I saw one of my listings on your page and you didn't tell me, that's different,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
talk to that, to call me and say, Allison, can I share your listing? Yeah, A-okay, if this is what you have to say.
I think what I was more in what she was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
new listings.
Yeah.
today, like,
Yeah.
Then send them to the MLS when they see.
Yeah.
It's
So I think that's different on.
Yeah, he's really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
still volunteer.
Okay, so limited beliefs, everybody understands what it is. Perfect. In order to achieve your success, you must release any fear of failure, rejection, and success. That's pretty common in everybody's life too. So something that you personally should as well. Okay.
All right. The sixth one is be accountable. This, I mean, we all already know what this means, hopefully. Own your success, right? Or your lack of success, if that's the case. If you're not applying yourself, if you're not lead generating, it's hard to be successful. Like you need to be talking to people. This is a business built on people, right? It's all about relationships. It's not about houses, it's about people. So you need to be accountable. You own a business now. If you want it to be successful, you need to put in the work. Really is all there is to say. So, accountability is first and foremost an attitude and an approach to your entire life. Everything in my life is a result of my choices and my actions. We all get this one. Accountability is a tool for continually changing the results in your life, those areas that matter the most, your 20%. So you're going to hear it so much. Lead generation is the most important thing. It's your 20%. That's what you need to be focused on and be accountable to it. If you're not going to lead generate, it's going to be harder for you to be successful.
Okay, what are some ways you can be accountable right now? This is for you. Give us an example. Anybody?
Well, to talk about the calendar, for your lead generation.
Mhm.
Set your goals and then follow up if you're meeting them or not and
Yeah.
adjust it if they're not.
Well, Sunday night, you look at your calendar or you have a journal, write your notes for the week of things you want to accomplish. Every week I try to pick one goal that I like to achieve. I'd like to achieve a million goals, but life, you're all busy, you all have lives, but pick something every week that you want to accomplish. Set it Monday night or, by next Sunday, I have a goal. This is where I'm gonna get to. Whether it's something that you want to meet somebody in person, or you want to drop something off, or you hoping you get your first listing or your first buyer or something, like make sure it's in the calendar. You do that every Sunday night, Monday morning, I don't know, whatever's comfortable for you, but that's being accountable. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Anybody online have any questions so far?
All right. We're gonna shift gears a little bit.
Money talk.
Money, my department. Okay. So when you get your first commission, you're gonna be super excited. And probably a little bit disappointed when you actually get the commission. That happened to you, Chris?
Have to get that.
We do hear a lot that first commission can be a little shocking, because you are, okay, I helped my buyer buy this home. The sale price was 500,000. I'm getting 2% of that, but it's not all your money. So it goes to other places. So if it's your listing, a portion of the commission goes to the other agent. So if you sign a listing and you sign it for 5%, likely you're splitting that. I mean, sometimes it's not split evenly, but some of it's going to the buyer's agent, typically split evenly. The market center, so KW is taking some. You have business expenses, taxes, and then what's left over is yours. We just did a big course on this last week, about expenses and tracking your expenses and things like that. Don't think I've met with any of you. I've met with May online for sure. I do a session with new agents. You'll get an email from me about CRA. And I just do a one-on-one. Actually, we were just talking about it. So I do a one-on-one session with you if you want me to, talking about how to get set up, your business accounts, things like that. And then just kind of talking about, like, if you came from a salaried position or an hourly position or whatever, your company was taking off the income tax for you and sending it to CRA. It doesn't happen anymore. So you need to be prepared for that. So you do make a lot of money in this business, but you need to be careful that you're also saving properly and you have the money to pay CRA. I think I just got a little off topic because I'm really passionate about that, because I get so many people being
What
like,
she's saying is go and meet with her.
yeah.
Okay. Honestly, it took me a long time. I remember one year I did my taxes and the tax lady was like, I had to best year. And I was like, oh, this is so great. And I was young. I think I was in my 20s and whatever, spending money. And then she was like, okay, your taxes are done and you owe X amount of dollars. I was like, what? I do? And I remember like sobbing because I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And that's the first time that I ever really realized that, okay, dude,
This,
that money wasn't mine.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to get caught up in that, super easy. And listen, at the end of the day, the CRA still reassess you. And, you know, there's things where they're going to follow us, right? So you have to, it's one of the scary things. And do I want to take a certain amount off my check every month? Because I feel like, you know, that's my money. I don't, but you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared for the next year too.
And
She'll teach you that. She's really good at it.
everyone,
She's super awesome. She'll hold your money for you. Like you don't just tell her, hold this and hold this. And then when you need it, it's there to pay. And then you're not, if you don't see it, it's not there in your mindset, right?
yeah. So yeah, you will get an email from me. The subject line is "Don't get in trouble with CRA." And in there,
We've all been there.
I'm trying to break the mold. I wanted to stop happening. All the senior agents
I know.
got themselves into trouble. I'm trying to get in front of all the new agents.
And it doesn't matter. They still, years later, I feel like I'm learning and then I get reassessed again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is brutal. But it will happen. But just let her manage your money.
And everybody hates when they owe taxes, but guys, if you didn't owe taxes, that means you didn't make any money. It's good to owe taxes. It sucks how much they take. We all know that. No one wants to give away half their money. But if you don't owe any taxes, that means you didn't make any money. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's okay. Anyways, we won't beat on this too long. When you get the email from me, my calendar link is in the email and just click on it. It's like a 15-minute meeting. Yeah, just make sure you do that and we can talk about it one-on-one. Oh,
Okay.
Maria, go ahead.
Yes, I want just one question because I cannot understand. I cannot understand what they're saying, but I tried to do a sole proprietorship with joint stocks, and it keeps rejecting the names. It says something. They say something about if it has to do with real estate, I have to talk to the broker or to the company.
If you're a sole proprietor, you don't need to sign up on Registry of Joint Stock.
Really?
Yeah, so you need to get an HST number through CRA.
And that's it.
Again, meet with her to talk about that, to make sure
Okay.
you're all set up properly, you know, that.
But that's all that you need to do, Maria. You don't need to get involved with joint stock.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
if you're incorporating, but as a new agent, likely you don't need to do that at this
No,
point.
no, yeah.
A whole
Okay.
bunch depends on things, but as a rule, if you're a newer agent, you do not need to get
Thank
unless
you.
you have like other businesses and things. But
Good question though.
yeah. All right. So, we actually did a big course on this last week, but we talk about, all of you are too new to have experienced our award ceremony. That was last month. But in our award ceremony, we celebrate gross commission, so how much money you earned for the year. But really, and that's what everyone talks about. They talk about how many units you did and your gross commission, how much money you brought in. Really, those numbers don't matter at all. What matters is your net income. After you spent all of your money, what's left over? That's what matters. That's what changes your life and changes your family's life. How much, if you bring in $500,000, but you spend 450,000 to generate that much business, that's not that great. That's 50,000 left, right? So the net income is what matters. So this is talking about setting goals. So you start with your net income goal. How much money do you actually want to make? How much money do you want your gross commission to be? How much do you want to end up with at the end?
$1 million.
Yeah. So a lot of times people have no idea what this number is starting out. You probably have a better idea, Chris, now that you're 1 year in, right? So you know what you did in your first year. So now you can better assess what you need to bring in. A lot of people need to sit down and figure out what their personal expenses are in order to come up with this number. You know how much it costs you to live for a year? Your mortgages for a year, your groceries are for a year, your kids' tuitions, whatever it may be. How much money do you need to live? You need to know that before you can decide how much money you want to make, right? So you start with that, your net income goal. Then, so your company dollar and royalty. If you're a capper, which in this example, if you're netting 100,000, then you are a capper. So you pay Keller Williams 23,000 a year if you're a single agent. And then how much are your business expenses? So in this example, they have 50,000. So that means you want to keep 100,000, but you're spending 73,000. You need to make 173,000. Everybody following so far? All right. So then you take your average commission amount. We have 8,000 in there. So we take 173 divided by 8,000. That means you need to do 24.7 units in a year. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now that's a
closed
full-time
units.
job.
Yes, that is full-time numbers for sure.
All this is gonna, this isn't, you're starting out.
New agents,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully this is feasible for you, but
Well, get it,
to
make
get
that
to,
your-
yeah.
Yeah, make that your goal.
Um,
One other thing about money too is that you have to set aside money to build your business.
Yes.
Okay, so that is so super important. If you're running off of all the free things and the free sites and all that, you have to remember that it costs money to go to an open house. You're spending gas to do that, all those things. So you have to have a little nest egg of money. So when you get your first commission, take some of that and put it in your savings account to build your business. Okay.
So that's what Allison is talking about, is that $50,000 line. Costs money to lead generate sometimes. There are free ways to do it, but there's also ways that cost money. If Chris, you said you run Facebook ads, it costs money. They're not free. Business cards cost money. For sale signs cost money. Gas costs money. Even if you're door knocking, if you drive to the community, you still spent money to get there. So there are definitely business expenses.
Over time, that's gonna fluctuate for you. It's gonna
For
change.
sure.
But keep stats on your year, like as you're starting out, like make a like journal is so huge. Every month, put in your journal what you've done, what you've spent money on, and whether it's meeting your client at Tim Hortons and buying them at Tim Hortons, that's got to be in your business expense too. Okay.
An exercise that you'll hear me talk about all the time. I call it red light, green light. Print out 2 months of credit card statements with 3 different color highlighters: green, pink, yellow, doesn't matter. Green, highlight every line item that is like, I absolutely need this to run my business. Your NSAR monthly fees, there's no choice. You have to pay those if you want to be a member at NSAR. If you're not a member at NSAR, then you can't really do your business. So you need that one. Highlight everything green that you absolutely need to have. And there's going to be a line items on there that you're like, I don't know what this is. I signed up for a free trial once and then I forgot to cancel it after the free trial. And now they're charging me $8 a month and I didn't even notice. Highlight those pink, like those have to go. Red light, stop those. Or you're like, oh yeah, I signed up for that program. I thought it was gonna be so good. The salesman was great. He sold me on it. And I didn't like it, but I forgot to cancel it. Thing like that. Or, oh, I don't really use it. Or, oh, I should have I didn't realize how much that was costing me. Is that return on investment there? Like, am I making enough money off of that program to justify this cost? Right. And then yellow might be items like, I really like that. It does help my business, but is it necessary? They're those things that you need to reevaluate, right? Look at your credit card statements. I can never justify that enough. There's so many charges on that's both your business and your personal life. Sometimes you sign up for like Apple TV free trial and then forget to cancel it after the month, right? It's just look at your credit card statements. You might be surprised how many of those are on there. Yeah, so this is just supposed to be doing your own. I have a spreadsheet that's way more complicated than this one. That really breaks this down. It gives you every possible expense, which most people, especially starting out, don't have those expenses. They don't have salaries to be paying and things like that. But it really makes you think about each item.
It also comes back to habits. Okay, so these are part of part of your habits is watching what you're spending and what you're putting your dollars towards too, because it's super important. It took me, again, a long time to I don't think I even got a work visa until I met Erin, and she's like, do everything for your visa. And now I do. And it makes everything so much easier. I just print it off from my accountant and highlight it, like she said, and realize I spend too much money on eating out. And, so those things you can change, like, that's super important. Keep everything in one area. I was all over the place for
Yeah.
years on that. So
Yeah, so what else?
those are habits.
When you book that one-on-one meeting with me, I will talk about this, but I'll say it now in case you don't book that meeting. You should have a separate bank account that your business transactions happen in and a separate credit card that your business transactions happen in. Realtors are very heavily audited by CRA. And if you're like, 3 years ago, that Staples expense, I don't know if that was for my business or my kids' school supplies. No idea. That was 3 years ago. If it's on your business credit card, you know it was for your business. And the second you start getting flaky with CRA, you're gonna pounce. So if you know this was a business expense for sure, it makes everything easier.
Case in point, I just spent multiples of thousands of dollars for soil members. So,
Remember, they
Save
can come
yourself
back on
money.
you 10 years later.
7.
That's it's seven. Okay,
Yeah.
so they got me right under the wire for 7 years.
Yeah.
And in my brain, I was like, oh, I don't have any of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I had a totally different accountant. And that's when they're like, well, now you got to pay it.
Because if
Okay.
you don't know, they're like, well, we're right, you're wrong then.
Yeah. And she was dead set on me. She's like, well, if you can't, go back and we need receipts and this and this and this, you have to pay it. I was like, well, it's easier to pay it. That's the sad reality of it. You don't want to be that way. So start your journey in real estate very organized. Keep that shoebox. Get that one credit card. Like she said, put everything business oriented on one credit card so that you can just print that off and here, you've got it
Mhm.
all. It's all accounted for. Terrible talk. I know.
I know.
it
Everyone
sucks,
glazes
but-
over when we start.
Uh,
All right. So we're gonna start talking a little bit about lead generation. So this QR code is a form to gain access to our do not call list. So you all know, we all get those calls from those telemarketing calls, and no one wants to be on it. Everyone signs up for the do not call list. Well, now you could be considered one of those telemarketers. So you need to, if you're cold calling, you need to be checking the do not call list, that you're not calling people that are on that list. So Market Center, the office subscribes to the do not call list. It's $8,000 a year. It's outrageous. So we buy it for you guys to have access to. So if you scan this QR code, it will open up a form. Once you sign the form, the do not call list will get shared to you. Form's basically saying that you were told it exists and that you need to be checking it, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to take a minute to scan that, even if you don't plan to cold call, could still do that and just have access to it if anything changes in the future. Obviously, you could get it at any time, but here right now. Is everybody good with the QR code?
Or have any questions about that list?
It's an Excel sheet, so you can like do Control F to like search the phone number before you call it.
Can it be a bathroom break? For 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Before I start this. Thanks.
Taking a quick bathroom break for those online. So there's a door, as soon as you go out of this room, there's a door to the right. And just leave the door, well, Allison probably left the door open, and you just kind of follow the exit sign and we'll go to it. Okay.
Getting caught, all I can do is drink water and
And then
go
you're
to the
gonna
bathroom all day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was gonna see if like the next slide was this change in. session. Okay.
Saying to Jillian, last week that like, I looked at this joint last year and like I found a workbook on Kidder Connect. And I read through it like how eager honestly wish I had taken.
Yes, that is so true. And I will say also, experienced agents often join this. Because it's just a refresher, like you always learn something because we always have different people teaching it. So you're just gonna get something different every single time. Actually, Umi is signed up to be in here. She just emailed me this morning and said she had an emergency and couldn't come, but like she plans to take it and she is a very successful, experienced agent, but the more you take things, the more you're gonna get out of it, right?
Shocked I was inside they had the Joel One Club. I said, "You signed in as your team, but by chance was I have a team." I'm like,
All right. Okay, so moving on to powerful conversations get results. The daily success system requires that we talk to people every day. It's important to know what to say, and we will help. You're going to get help through Ignite for this for sure. You're going to have conversations of care and gratitude. You will check in with people. You will offer value and assistance. Notice I didn't say you are calling to ask if you need to buy or sell. This is a lot of this is a part of my life too. I am on the culture committee at Keller Williams and super proud of that. And it teaches us compassion and that you have to have a lot of that with your clients too. I always make a joke that we are like social workers or psychologists or, we're always there. We have a lot of hats. So yeah, whether, your client wants you to buy a house with them or sell their house, they're also going to tell you about their life and their children and their divorce. And so all of those things you have to be ready for. And that's where compassion comes into. And care, which is conversations about care because we have to care about them.
Yeah.
It's just by nature a part of this business, okay? Because they're selling for a reason. Whether it's divorce, it's tough. A death, it's tough. Parents home where their parents have died and it's an estate sale, or they're getting married and they're buying their first house, like that's super exciting too. So there's a lot of things that
There's always emotions, no matter what the
Yeah.
reason is, right? Whether they're good or bad emotions.
I have a big rule too that like not everybody has to be this way, trust me, but like sometimes newer clients or clients that are referred to me, I won't be friends with them on Facebook until after the transaction is closed and then we've built a relationship together and then we become Facebook friends. But I mean my big sphere is from my Facebook friends, but if I don't know them, I kind of just wait until I know that we like me or we like each other enough that we become friends. But that's where the care comes in too, because it's part of the job. Maybe you won't end up liking each other either. I've had that happen too, where I was like, oh God, I can't even be a part of this.
Right.
They're not very nice. And
You're like, I can't wait for this deal to be done. So I
Yeah.
don't have to talk to these people.
you're
again.
going to figure that out in time that you're not going to get along with anybody, but you're always going to be better. always going to answer them professionally and continue what you were hired to do. And in the end, if you're not friends, you're not friends. It's okay. Um, okay, where am I? You will offer value and assistance. Notice I didn't say you were calling to ask if they need to buy or sell. No, because there's a better way to gain confidence and stay in touch with people. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. Conversations strengthen relationships.
We said earlier, this business is about people, not homes, right? It's all about relationships.
So it's important to understand the power of words we use and the importance of practicing conversations every day. You know, there's a part of Keller Williams that does a lot of scripts. There's a lot of scripts that you could learn. KW is big on scripts. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I use those scripts because I don't, but I've been taught them. So it's a good basis of, you know, how to. You're not going to pick up your phone and be like, "Hi, my name is Hunt and I'm from Keller Williams." And then you're just like a robot. Okay. So learn to actually bring you into that, you know, your fluctuation of your voice and how your personality stands out.
But I would say you may not use these scripts,
Yeah,
but I bet you have your scripts.
I do.
Right.
And I feel like I follow that well. Yeah. Again, I say I'm a talker. I like, "Hi, it's Allison. How are you doing today? Oh my God, what did you do on the weekend? Or how are your kids?" You're going to figure out a way that works for you to get the job done. And you're going to be different from me. You're going to be different from me. You're different. We're all different. We're different. We're super different,
very
but we're very good friends. So, you know, it's just the way it has to be. And you have to figure out for yourself what works for you. Okay.
Yeah, it's, if you
There's a ton of scripts throughout your manuals.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. And you're in coaching with Jill. Get some from her too.
Yep. And ask for them, you know, ask to, we were taught to have a script partner. So like every training that you go to, like family reunion or mega camp, you're taught that, you're taught things, you're taught it here.
We're gonna talk about it in a few
It
slides.
fun, it seems weird. I'm just like, "Hey, Chris, let's have a script hour." I mean, it kind of sounds silly, but it works. It just you have to gain confidence. We're not sitting up here today because we don't know how to talk to people. I know how to talk to people. I could go anywhere. My husband says it to me all the time because he's as quiet as can be and he hates talking to people. He's like, "I don't know how you do that." I'm like, "But that's 23 years of practice." I wouldn't sit up here today and teach you guys if I didn't feel confident enough to do it. That comes with confidence, going to those open houses and saying the same things and practicing it over and talking to are you married? Talking to your husband, be like, "Honey, I want to run this up by you. Can you just like appease me?" It's like practicing for a play. You know, you've got it in front of you. You take your scripts home and you're like, "Okay, honey, here's a copy. Just appease me." And then you're figuring out your fluctuations in your voice and how you can handle it. And he's laughing at you and going, "Oh my God, this is so silly," but it's teaching you what to do.
Yeah.
Right?
And the first open house you do, the first person that walks into an open house, you're probably gonna stumble. You're probably not gonna sound perfect. That's fine.
I still
You're gonna
do.
learn.
Like
Yeah.
there's some people that come in and I'm just like, "Whoa." First time somebody asks me a question in an open house and I don't know the answer to it, I am like, I must sound ridiculous because I'm like, and I'm trying to change the subject and, "Oh, look at that bird out there." And then they're like, "Oh,
So what type of heating is it?
yes."
Like,
And I'm looking around trying to figure it out as I'm like distracting them to figure it out. It's going to happen. You're not perfect people. And nobody wants you to be, but that one person is going to put you right on the spot. And then you're going to friggin' figure out how to answer that question eventually for the next time it's in your plate.
But also, if you don't know the answer to a question, that's a really great opportunity to be like, "You know what? I don't know that, but I'm gonna get you the answer. Can I have your phone number?"
So just be honest. Be honest and be like, I have no idea. Sorry, I had a rough night. I wasn't quite prepared. I don't know. Say something that's going to make you look human instead of making it up. And then they walk out and they're like, "Oh, that person had
Yeah.
no idea what they were talking about." Right. And it's gonna happen.
Also, that being said, when you start doing open houses, do a bit of research before the open house starts. You know some of those things.
That's part of you're not gonna show up at my open house and have zero clue what is. You're gonna do a little research before. You're gonna know what you're talking about so you can have that powerful conversation when that person walks in and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he knows what she's talking
When you say research, you mean, let's say I'm walking into XYZ property open house today, so research on that property, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna look
Yeah.
up a listing cut on Paragon,
Yeah.
you're gonna call me and be like, hey, give me the scoop on that house, Allison. And I'm gonna say, my sellers are downsizing, or they're sick, or they can't keep up with the house anymore. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the history on the house, so that when people say, why are they selling? Because you're gonna get that question every time. It's ludicrous question. Why are they selling? You don't need to tell them why they're selling, but if you knew a little bit about it, you'd be like, oh, you know what? They're building a house and they're so excited and they love this community. They're just moving down the street. At least you have a little bit of insight of, why you're there, or the heating.
Or what
question.
type of heating?
Just recently, literally, sounds ridiculous, but it's my listing and they're like, okay, something about the heating. And I was like, oh my God. And just as that happened, and I say birds, I'm not even kidding you, 2 seagulls landed on the back deck. And I'm like, bird out there. And then I was like, oh, give me a second to figure out what to answer this question. I was able to, had a moment, and we all have moments.
Yeah.
But if you have this is about powerful conversations, and you have to know what you're talking about. That is what you're going to do every day. You know what? So say Sunday you ask me to do an open house. Well, maybe Thursday you're going to start getting your ducks in a row for that open house. Maybe Saturday you want to go and knock on some neighbor's door and give them a little flyer and say, hey, I'm at this open house down the street. I just wanted to introduce myself. If you have any friends that are looking to come into that's a powerful conversation you're having, because you're doing some legwork before the actual day happens. Right? So those are things you can do. You're going to learn, you're going to be trained on it. Jillian's going to help you with all that stuff as you're getting trained, but there's so much.
Big host one, we can always walk into the pasture yard.
For sure.
Oh,
You can do an open house
I'm
this
in.
weekend. Spend your Sunday going to,
There are open
5.
houses this weekend, and you'll find it out on the kind of a new.
they're all over Paragon. On Paragon they're there, or you can open realtor.ca. It tells you where there's open houses.
Yes, how about our open Facebook group? Hey, I'm looking to go to some open houses this
Yeah.
weekend to see how you conduct yourself. Is anybody doing an open house this weekend? And I'd be like, hey, I'm at 132 Prospect Bay Road. Come on over.
Mhm.
Right? Easy.
They'll be grateful to have, because either one, should up, number 2, they're busy. So
Right.
No one's going to refuse teaching, helping you
No.
learn how to do it.
they're stuck in the old
Yeah.
house anyways for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so practicing conversations every day. Just as a doctor learns anatomy before working with his patients, agents must prepare to have meaningful conversations. That's what we just touched on. Using purposeful language helps you get to the end point, an appointment and a closed transaction. Okay. All of this stems around confidence and knowing, you're not going to go in and nervous and stutter over your words. You're going to be trained at KW how to walk into that appointment and know what you're talking about and act straight, and you're ready to go. For conversations, including powerful questions, will help you uncover motivations with your buyer and seller and identify any objections so you can address them up front. Practicing conversations allows you to have a thought out response. So again, what I said to you, practice with your husband. It's the person you hang out with every single day and you love the most in the world, or your kid. My daughter's 25 and I'm like, I would have no problem standing in the kitchen with her and saying, can you help me with this? She would love it. She would
We're-
think that's great.
We're going to talk about this in a few slides, but you can also find a buddy here
Yeah.
that you practice scripts with,
Some
right?
people do that. They script practice and they're sitting back there or sitting in here if this is open and they're bouncing off of each other. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you're gaining confidence. Practicing conversations I'll do that one. No, allows you to have a thought out response that delivers a powerful message in a way that the consumer will best understand and be able to utilize. Like I said, I got caught up in that. Asked me a question. I was like, oh, thank God for the seagulls on Prospect Bay Road who helped me answer that one. But practicing allows you to ask questions in a way that people will be able to quickly share the information you need to better serve them. They just want answers. They don't, that's what they're there for. And practicing helps you gain confidence. We need confidence in this industry. We are constantly talked about. You know that. It's not an easy profession. We all know that. It's all about self-employment and finding the business and competing with other realtors, and you have to stand out. So if you're confident, listen, you're going to stand out. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Okay. So in Ignite, we will be having conversations with people we know and have implicit relationships to remain in contact. We call these people our sphere of influence, or our SOI. And your sphere of influences are people you have met, and they know you, trust you, and respect you. This is huge.
Yeah.
It is huge.
Especially as a new agent.
I mean, if people like you, they're going to want to work with you. If people like you, they're going to refer people to work with you. If people like you, they're going to want to hang out with you. It takes a lot of practice to get this done. But you know what, at the end of the day, if you're a nice person and you're kind and you work hard, they're going to call you back, or they're going to refer you. And that's all you need to know.
But you all already have a sphere of influence. You already have friends and family. I'm sure you all have at least 50 contacts in your phone at minimum, right? So you all already have a sphere. Those are the people you're going to start with.
That's a good point. Your phone is the first thing. Okay. How many contacts do you have in your phone? Well, they're in your phone for a reason. Okay. So they're either, you know, family, friends, whatever.
Mhm.
But there's the perfect place to start. Yeah. Do you always want to work with your family? No, no. Will you learn that maybe that's not the best thing? Sure. I get,
But when you're starting out,
but when you're
you'll take
starting
it.
out, 100%. I remember when I started out, I sold my dad's house. Well, that was the most painful thing that I have ever dealt with in my life, because he was my dad, and you know, his daughter, he doesn't care that I'm a realtor. He just wants to sell his house. Well, honestly, we ended up parting ways, and I'm not even kidding you. I ended up referring him to another realtor who sold it. And that 25% was the best money I ever got, because I didn't have to talk to my dad every day. But you're gonna realize over time that that's where you need to start. So, you know, if your cousin decides to sell her house with me, are you gonna go, oh my God, you're my cousin? Of course you are. So make sure that your family knows that you're a realtor now. You're gonna call them all. Call every single cousin you have, and every aunt and uncle you have, and every distant cousin, and be like, guess what? I got my real estate license. Now you're gonna use me. Okay, because that's where they're going to start. They're going to be buying houses. Okay, your friend group would be devastated if anybody in my friend group used another realtor. Will it happen? Sure, it will. 100% it will. You're going to learn how to deal with that, or you're going to learn how to do better the next time. So your friend down the street doesn't choose Alex, or you know, you. This is my sphere. This is my sphere of people. I want them to know that they please use me, but give them a reason to use you. Okay, be confident about that, and call them. Call them weekly, call them monthly. I don't know. Touch their Facebook. Those are all things you got to do. Okay, so according to the National Association of Realtors, which we refer to as NAR,
This is an American stat,
American,
but
yeah, we'll go with it. 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, a neighbor, or a relative. Okay, you all live somewhere, whether it's an apartment building, house, a neighborhood, we all have Facebook groups. You know what? If you lived in an apartment building, hey, you have neighbors. They're, you know, right there. They're going to buy one day. They're going to have friends that are buying. Okay. Go to the social events in your building. Go to the community center, you know, luncheon on a Friday afternoon or something, you know, like this is going to be your new sphere. Okay. Happens in our community. There's 5 realtors. I think there's 5, 6 in our community. There's enough business in that community for all of us. Okay. But I want my face to be there. I want my face to be the first one they see. You know, like I don't feel like I'm in competition. I think 4 of them work here. And we're all fine. We can all share the business and we all work together. But you know what? That's where I socialize, and those are where my family members live, and that's my neighborhood. And so I feel like this is where you have to start, right? Your neighborhood Facebook group. Introduce yourself. Hi, my name is so and so. I'm a realtor. You don't have to say new. I'm a realtor. I live in your neighborhood. Did you know that? If you have any questions, like those are things that are free to you. I added myself to every single neighborhood Facebook group in my community, and I live in the Prospect community, so there's lots of them, and I make sure Alex is good at it too, her husband. Like, you just have to keep doing the same things. It's your sphere. Your sphere
You
is
need to
super-
make sure people know you're a realtor.
Yeah. Percent. Okay, so what do we want to talk about here? Okay, so in conclusion, it costs nothing to call people. You know that already. It requires fewer contacts and less effort to ask them for their business or to refer family and friends. Does everybody feel good about that? Okay, what a sphere of influence is, which is your SOI, put that in your journal. SOI, follow it every day. Figure out a way how to contact with your sphere of influence every day in your lead gen. Okay. Okay, so this graph, your sphere on the move. Okay, this graph depicts when people are likely to move, which has NAR has found the average person moves every 7 to 10 years. And that is the truth. I always say to my clients, you're going to have the itch in 7 years. And
Yeah.
guess who you're going to call? Me.
Yeah.
And it happens. I literally, I'm going to tell you the story real quick, but I just sold a house. It closes today. And she sent me a photo of when I sold it to her 7 years ago. And it was so great. And I still have I had the photo, but she sent it back to me. And it was her dog up on the window ledge on closing day. I was like, oh, that's so cute. Today she sends me same photo reenacted, her dog up on the window ledge and her child in it. And her child is in the photo. And she was like, we got the itch, like you said. And it was like 6 years or something. And I'm like, and it's true. It really is true. Okay. So like people, but in the set, you think, oh my God, once every 7 years. Oh, that's a long time to make more money off of those people. But those people have people. Those people have and family and friends and those people
Coworkers and-
co-workers. So you see, like it's just a trickle down effect of stuff. My 90% of my business is a referral based business, and I'm super proud about that. Because I'm getting referrals. I'm not knocking on doors. I'm not cold calling, and I don't do open houses. Well, I do, but I don't really want to, and I hate them. Not mine is referral. It is all referral based business, and I'm super proud of that. But that comes from my sphere. Okay? So 7 to 10 years, the peaks are a moment a person moves. As soon as they purchase, the likelihood of a move falls into a trough. And over time, that likelihood. So again, so I say 7 years. Okay, are you going to give up on them after it closes? No. Every year you're going to send them a card. Happy 1 year anniversary. Happy 5 year anniversary. I don't know what you want to say to them. Happy birthday to your dog. How is the house? Have you done any upgrades? Keep me posted. So then in 7 years, they're like, you're the first person they're going to call because you've kept in touch with them.
Well, it says here, if you don't talk to them for 8 years after a deal, why would they call you first when they're ready to move?
No, they're
Right.
gonna call Jennifer, who's
Yeah.
a realtor now and lives on
Yeah.
their street,
Yeah.
because they meet at the mailbox every day. But if you are keeping in contact with them and you haven't forgotten about them, they're gonna call you first.
And use command. So there's a contacts portion of command. There's a notes spot. There's so many fields. You can put in their kids' names, their dogs' names, like whatever. So when you do call them, open it up. You're not going to remember their dogs' names. You know how many clients of yours are going to have dogs? You're not going to remember. Open up command, look at their dog's name before you call. Hopefully the dog didn't die since you talked to them last, but
Then you're gonna know.
yeah, then you're gonna know, and then you're gonna note that their dog died. But you need to know, you need to sound like, even if you don't remember those things, you need to sound like you know those things. They don't know that you opened up their profile and read about them before you called them.
It's really good for that too. And there's sometimes a method to my madness of why I put things on, because I know in 1 year it's going to remind me of what I did a year ago. And that's going to, every year, I'm telling you, a closing comes up and it's a post. Time last year,
Yeah.
my client closed her house. So I'm like, okay, it's 1 year. And I do a screenshot and I'm like, happy 1 year, blah, blah. And they're like, sure. Facebook reminded me about that, or command reminds you
Mhm.
about that, or write it in your journal. Like
Mhm.
the beginning of every month, it's your anniversary. Like I am constantly messaging the office and saying, can you give me March 2024 closings from March 2024? They actually now are really good. They send me the whole year so that I'm not bothering them every month. But again, I look back on that and go, okay, that's what I did of March last year. So I'm going to message all those people because this is their anniversary month, and they love it. They think it's great. They're like, oh my God, hi, how's it going? You know,
And it's a reason to call, right? So you're not just calling being like, hi,
do you know,
how are you?
do you know what's the worst
Right.
feeling in the world? It's when you see their house come up on the market and you're like, oh my God, why are they selling with Why did something with Matthew? Oh, I didn't do my job because
Mhm.
Matthew is better than me, or I'm better than Matthew. It's because Matthew was in their limelight. Matthew was in their sphere, obviously
front
for
of
a
mind.
reason. He was front line. And then I'm like, I didn't do my job. Does it happen? All the time. 100% all the time. There's a reason. Maybe they chose somebody else, you know, it's their uncle was
Yeah.
licensed and they have to go with family. Sure, there's reasons, but don't give them reasons not to call you. Okay? They're obviously good enough and they were good enough to be in your sphere at that time. Keep them in your sphere, okay?
If we have our sphere of influence, let's say I've done it in my Excel and I'm on contacts on my Facebook, is there a way that I could directly import it into that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I can look at the trainings and figure it out.
Yeah, or book a time with Jess and she can help you with it, yeah.
All right. So don't fear your sphere. Okay, so the Ford method, you know, learn this and understand it. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay. So we're going to practice a simple conversation tool called the Ford method. Put that in your book, follow it. You're going to have several conversations with other participants in this class or in general. Practicing conversations is super important in your real estate career. Like I said, just even today, oh, we're back and forth with each other and we're talking and you're asking questions and you're here to have those conversations. Mm. Again, we're all nervous. We still are. I am, you are, we're all nervous. You want that. You want people to like you. You want people to choose you. You want your family to choose you. You know, that's how it happens. But have those conversations every single day. It's never a bad thing to know how to talk to people. It's the best thing in this industry. And so you have to practice that.
The Ford model gives you examples of what you can ask. How's your family doing? I saw that you had a baby. Are you still working at ABC company?
You see, they change jobs.
Right.
Congratulate them.
Yeah.
You know, that opens up a conversation.
Did you ever get that boat you talked about? Right? Or are you still thinking of retiring to the mountains one day? So family, occupation, recreation, dream. Or just talking points. When you call, you're not like, thought I'd touch base, right? Something to talk about.
Okay, do you want to practice conversation? No, we're good.
Do you guys want to break out and talk to each other?
Do you want to talk to us? Do you have any questions on that? No, it's one point that I will make, and I say this to my husband all the time, is that socializing is a really big way to have these conversations. So, you know, going out for dinner with your girlfriends once a month, or, you know, going out on, if you like boating, go out on your boat and have those conversations. It's that practice, you know, invite some friends over once a month and, you know, have a little dinner party in your house. Yeah, conversations, but socializing has to happen in this industry or you will never meet people and you're never going to be able to practice, you know, being confident, right? Use your friends and your family to practice that, what they're for, right? And then you're having fun at the same time, I guess, you know? So there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so like I said, most days are going to be 2 sessions jammed into 1 session. So we're switching over to session 2. Yeah, so embrace your job. Yeah,
This was,
yeah.
so welcome to your new job. Which is your sales career. You're an independent business person and it's important to understand the components of this job. Essentially, you're an IT, which is so
No,
true.
you're it.
Or you're it, IT,
Yeah.
whatever. There's an
You're not in IT.
yeah, but you are, but you really are. That computer is it. That's it. Okay, that's IT to me. I'm so bad at it, but anyways, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that's true. No one's You're not waking up in the morning and speaking to a boss and the boss telling you what you have to do every day. You're your own boss. And that sometimes is the hardest thing to
Mhm.
overcome too, because, you know, it's hard.
We already talked about the being accountable. So easy to not be accountable in this career because you don't have a boss to answer to, right?
So here's your 6 core.
You guys have Jill starting out, so she's there to help you be accountable and build the habits, but
You're lucky to have that too, because waking up, you could easily sleep in and be like,
But you're also accountable to your family.
Yeah.
Right? You're in this business to make money. I don't think anyone got into the business to not make money. If you're not bringing money home to your family, like you have to be accountable to your family, and you spent money to get here to this point.
okay, so here's your job. Okay, pretty simple. These are your 6 stages of your job. Lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. That's every single day, whether it's your morning, your afternoon, I don't know, your evening, because you have another job, is first and foremost.
That's your 20%.
Yep.
That bullet point.
Present to buyers and sellers and get those agreements. Awesome. That's what you're striving for. That's what your lead generate is going to get you to. You're showing buyers and market sellers, you're writing and negotiating contracts, you're coordinating the sale to a closing, and you're managing your money. That okay, seems easy. Yeah. All of that is super hard right from the beginning. And sometimes that's 3 months, from start to finish. As soon as you have somebody on paper and then you're selling their house and the closing happens, it's like it's a while. That's one person for 3 or during COVID it was week, 2 weeks, who knows?
Well, if it was a seller, if it was a buyer, it was 2
Great,
years.
yes. But again, that's the other thing you have to remember, that these things happen over the course of a few months. So in that time frame, you're still working. You're still working for them, with them, whether it's a buyer and they bought something and you're just waiting for their closing. You're not just ignoring them right up until closing. You're checking in with them every day. Do you need anything? What can I remind you about? Don't buy that truck before closing because that's going to hit your credit. Those are all
Did
things
you remember to call Nova Scotia Power and set up for
you're
your
just
new house?
constantly
Yeah.
working, and that's starting your day, generating, capturing, converting. That conversion is still all work, right, till you get paid. And even after you get paid, still working. You're checking in on them after 3 months, or you're asking them to give you a review for your Facebook page, or what's it called? A review. Yeah, I guess it's a review. Or you're, can send me some leads or a referral, or do you have an uncle or not? Like nothing stops. Like you're still constantly working, and we forget about that. You get your first closing and you're like, great, this is my month. Well, no, that has to go away. You have to start doing this. You got to start over again. So you got to remember that. We've reviewed the overall path of Ignite. We've started that. You can see that we will cover, we build on each one as we go, exactly what I just said. Running a successful business involves engagement of all of these activities every day. Every day. I can't stress that enough. Like this is your job now. You're waking up in the morning and you're working. Whether you go to the grocery store, remember that you're saying hi to somebody in the grocery store. You're not like getting annoyed with them when they watch you go out to your truck and your truck's deckled with all of your real estate stuff on it. Like you're always in culture, always, every single day. That's your job, no matter what. Like another example for me is that I boat in Prospect Bay, and I love to boat. There's another realtor who boats in Prospect Bay all the time, and she's always there. And I say to my husband all the time, we're not tying up with them, or we're not drinking around them. You have to be in culture all the time. Like we're always watched. We're working constantly. We're socializing. You're going out downtown and you have to be careful of what you're doing and who you're off, or you have to always remember that people are watching you, your social media, what you put on your social media is really important too. That's all part of this every single day. And if you're working hard and you're remaining in culture, and you're lead generating, and you're being that kind, compassionate, caring person that we're teaching you how to be, you're going to be writing contracts and negotiating business and all that stuff. But it starts with that. Naomi. Okay. It was more than a minute. Sorry, Erin. Okay, so the first competency is your first priority. After all, if you have no leads, you have no business. Well, you must have leads to sustain a thriving business, which is what you signed up for. So you will learn, it will be repeated over and over again, that your number one job is lead generation. How many times have I said that today? You're waking up and you're lead generating. You're going to a social event, you're still lead generating. You're, I don't know, you're going to this party or this event, or your community is having a social event, or an annual meeting in your community. These are all important things that you should, this is lead generation. If they're seeing your face or they're, you know, you're constantly in the limelight. In my community, there's not one part of the Prospect communities that you can't drive down that you don't see my face. I have a billboard on Prospect Road. I have one on the corner of Prospect Road and Prospect Bay Road. I'm in the community center in a massive hanging banger. It's like a hanging a banner. I'm everywhere. Every Monday I post in the community sites. That is my lead generation, and I make sure that I do it over and over and over again because I want to be chosen. I want to be that first call. Whether they interview 3 people and don't choose me, that happens 100%. You know, they might like somebody else for a different reason than they like me, but I got in the door, and you got to get in the door. Okay, so remember that you have community for a reason. You have rec centers and you have Facebook groups, and be a part of all those things. Introduce yourself. Like in my community, every Monday is the only day that we can put sales. Anybody who has a sales in our community, whether it's a bakery or a real estate or a car, you know, repair cars, or I'm a chimney person, or I'm this. So every Monday it's in our community group. So find out what your community groups are like and what you can do and what your rules are, and put it in there. Just keep doing it. So, you know, those are the things. Okay. Capturing is about obtaining accurate contact information, names, phone numbers, emails, home addresses, whatever they want to give you. So when you do your open houses and you have your sign up sheets, not everybody's going to sign up. You know what you're after. They don't want to have your, you know, you emailing them after, but ask them permission for it. If you don't ask, they're not going to give it to you. Like, oh, hi, welcome to my open house. Have a muffin. Can I get your email? Just in case, you know, you have any questions. They might say, no, I'm not giving you my email, but at least you asked. Okay. And some people will be like, and then you become friends, and then they end up buying the house and whatever. And you're happy that you asked them for that. Some people will just see the sign up sheet and think they have to do it because they're walking into somebody else's private home and doing it. So if you don't ask for that, you're not going to get it. If you give them an avenue to give it to you, do it. Okay. Hand your card out. Or they leave. Don't ever not hand your card out. Just say, listen, if you have any questions after you leave my open house, here's my card. I would love to hear from you. Because sometimes they don't want to give you their name and address and, you know, whatever. But you've given it to them, and then maybe they will follow up with you. Maybe they won't. But you've tried. Another important component of lead generation is that you ask for permission to stay in contact. That's pretty important. We're going to learn about this as we explore lead generation later in this. Somebody will teach you that, okay, and how to stay in touch with people. Converting to appointments, capturing leads is wonderful. However, the ultimate goal is to find active buyers and sellers and set up that appointment to meet and agree to work together. So that's your interview stage. Like I said, you know, I can put billboards and pictures of myself all over my community, which I do, but if I don't get that appointment, what's the point? Really. So you got to get in there and get that interview, and you know, like any job. Somebody said something to me the other day about, oh, we were talking about going back to do an interview. Somebody I know is got an interview. They're like, I haven't had an interview in 20 some years. And I'm like, I'm interviewed every week. And it is the truth. You're interviewed every week. So you're up against somebody, whether you know it or not. I'm not the only one they're bringing in. I need to sell myself to them. So
I have a question in that regard, because I was recently speaking with someone, and so they seemed interested in buying a property, and but they were not comfortable signing a BDPA
Yeah.
instantly, because they were like, yeah, I'm speaking to someone else as well, and I just want to be fair and see. So how do we approach that situation? Like, I know
you have to let that happen. You have to let them,
Okay.
you just say absolutely no. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. I sold a lot recently, and my buyer who did not want to buy, he did not want to sign a BDBA.
Mhm.
It's such a hard conversation too. And I'm actually an agency. I need to be an agency with them to do it. But some people are just not comfortable doing it. Okay. So you have to when you meet them, you have to let that happen. But if you don't pressure them and you're like, okay, but you know, once we get a little further in the process, we're going to, I always explain to them that this is my protection for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I get that. I get
But-
that's me.
But if you're just meeting them for the first time at Tim Hortons and you're like throwing a BDA, I'd walk away too.
Yeah.
I would. So just remember that everybody's disc profiles are different than yours. And yes, we have rules. You're not gonna end up working with them and not get them in a BDA.
Correct.
You will,
Yeah.
but not on the first meeting.
Right.
You gotta sell yourself first,
Got it.
okay? And then they're not walking away going, oh, Jesus, she wanted me to
Mhm.
sign that already. I can't do that. But,
Like a used car salesman, right?
but how about
Sign,
you do
sign,
this?
sign.
You have their name and their phone number and you're kindly following up with them and you're not being too overbearing and, but you're following up. You're not just gonna let them walk away.
So if they wanna see 1 or 2 properties with me before signing the BD, that's fine.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah. Because
Anne might slap my hand, but I do it. But that's your decision. That's your decision. Some realtors like, I am not showing any houses if you're not gonna commit to me. Some people are like, no, I really want the opportunity to get the practice.
Like, let's go out, I wanted to give them the comfort.
They have to like you first. I
Just
mean, they're not
go
gonna be like,
see with me. There is something that I'm showing you like, only you can discover. So that's okay, right?
Yeah,
it is.
depends on who you ask.
Ask me.
You're asking me, you're asking me and I'm saying it's, yes, it's right. It is. It is.
Think Umi has something to join,
Uh,
to add.
So when I face a situation, I generally say, why don't you interview 3
Yeah.
besides me and see which one you have the best fit with?
And most people are.
80% will come back.
Yeah.
And show them a few homes, but when they ask me, how do you think it compares to the market, or what do you think the price should be, is that that's why I leave the BDA, because I
Yeah.
cannot give you advice.
I cannot advise you.
I'm
It's protecting, if they understand that you're not roping them in to like never have to leave you, like you just explain to them, like, I'm protecting your best interest. Like, I can give you the best market advice if you sign this.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen on stage 1. Right, when you meet them at Tim Hortons and you're being interviewed and it doesn't have to happen that day, but maybe a week later, if they start, like, let's go, we've chosen you. If they say we've chosen you, that's when you have to sign it. Okay.
And like Umi said, if you say, okay, go interview 3 more, they're probably not even interviewing one other. That statement itself gave them enough confidence that you're not slimy.
Yeah.
Right?
I was gonna say the same thing as we actually, be like, and I encourage it, go talk to someone else, and we'll be here to answer. Anything you're confused about, happy to answer. Any
Yeah.
questions you have, this stuff's confusing. Leave it at that.
Do you ever see-
80%
do you ever see those posts on Facebook where they're like, I'm looking for a realtor in the city,
Right.
and then it's like, right? And then I'm just like, why don't you interview 3 realtors? Pick 3 and interview 3. Like, you're not gonna get, everybody is commenting. There's 650 answers to that. It's 650 different names. Well, that's a tough one. So then maybe Sidge and say, like, if it was in my community, I would be like, hi, I'd message privately. Hi, my name is Allison. Here's my card. I'd love to be interviewed.
Mhm.
Right? I'd love to be interviewed. They're probably going to choose Alex and they're probably going to choose Holly, or if it's somebody in my community, we all get picked. We're always in the same appointments.
Mhm.
But throwing that BDBA them, and that first happened to me. Starbucks, they were meeting 3 realtors and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I just let it happen and had a coffee with them and bought their coffee for them. And then he interviewed me and we talked about my strengths and my, whatever. And then they did call. But if you're bringing that with you on the first go, that to me is not confidence. You're just trying to, just be yourself first.
Thanks.
Okay, so the second core competency is to present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. This is about your skill during the appointment with the buyer and seller. Okay, so there's what we just talked about. Okay. Presenting to buyers means going through your buyer consultation documents. Now, you could go through it with them. Here's another thing. You could say, we're meeting, this is the routine, eventually you'd have to sign a BDBA with me or an SDBA, and here's a copy of it. You
Mhm.
go through it and see, what I can offer you as your buyer's consultant, and give them a blank copy of it and just say, this is what we're going to sign when you choose me and you're comfortable choosing me. But I know you're probably interviewing their realtors, but I want you to know that these are my duties to you. Works too. Okay.
You also might build like a little booklet when it talks about your buyer consultation document. You can build little booklets, and I think I think there's actually one in the materials for this. I'll get Jess to send it out to everyone. It's like a Word document, so you can then edit it to fit you, but it gives you the kind of starting point. Like go through that, explain how the process works with that book, right?
They're looking at you first. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
They're interviewing you first.
And again, it goes back to the disc. If they're a high D, they're like, get this booklet out of my face and tell me what you need to tell me and let me get out of here.
I don't know if you'll get there, but you're gonna have people that be like, what form are you talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, no, the copy of that at, BDV, I don't even remember signing that. They don't care about those forms. They care about you.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
eventually they're going to sign it if they feel they can trust you and they want to work with you, okay? But you gotta win that first. Okay, so presenting to the seller assembler, you go through the entire listing presentation document with them, which outlines the entire selling process, including your marketing. We went to Moncton last year and Jeff Glover did a really awesome presentation about, your listing presentation. And again, it's the same thing. You're being interviewed while you're there. So you have to, this is where confidence and scripting with your husband before you go to the appointment works, right? Because then you're going to be able to, and you're going to learn over time how to, when they ask you that question you're not ready for, how to answer it and be around it and get those answers. And Jeff was awesome at this last year. He actually has it on probably on his website.
Yeah.
And he gives it to anybody for free, and he's super good at it. I watched it again in Arizona when I went in January, but he sits there. He's the most confident person I've ever seen in a listing appointment.
Yeah.
And he teaches his realtors, and we teach you here. And this course is going to teach you how to sit in front of somebody and not just be like, sit straight, and to talk to them and treat them like, and says humans, like they're humans. Like you have to know how to speak to them. That's practice. Okay. Okay. So the expected outcome of all of these presentations is that your client, whether buying or selling, wants to sign that agreement with you. Okay, so exactly our point. And you had great questions when it comes to that. If you walk away from that first meeting and they're like, nope, she's not the right person for me, or he's not the right person for me, you're not going to have that. That's not going to be signed. So their first and foremost is to learn how to be confident in what you're talking about and meeting and people. You'll learn all you need to be able to successfully present and obtain a signed agreement in this course while you're here. Okay. Okay. Can't even say this. It's so crazy. Is about showing buyers and marketing listings for your sellers. Okay, what do these mean to you? So showing buyers is all about understanding the needs of the buyer and selecting houses for them to experience with you. That is part of your job now too. So people call you and they're saying, hi, you were referred to me and I would like to start showing you, can you show me some houses? Well, when I first started, I was showing 25 to 30 houses on a weekend because I would show up with my listing cuts, and this didn't exist and Viewpoint didn't exist and Paragon wasn't as good as it is now, and people weren't driving by, they were picking things, and you're printing off listing cuts and you're going all over House Creation to show them houses, and you don't know what area of the city they want and whatnot. But now we do. Because they're like, I want to be in Brookside. I want to be in Halifax. You absolutely know you're better prepared for it. And showing houses is a lot easier now because they've already picked it out. They know, they've been on those search engines and they know what they want to see. And, so they're better prepared, which we're super lucky about. DocuSign has changed the face of real estate. Sometimes I don't even see your clients ever, which is crazy to me. But anyways, it is what it is. So you need to understand the needs of your buyers and your sellers always, and that's part of your job.
And I think, again, I'm not licensed, so I don't deal with buyers and sellers, but I think a lot of times it's reading between the lines with buyers. They might say, I want this, 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 and this.
Mhm.
But then when you go and see a few houses, you realize that's not actually what they want. You can tell, like, no, they keep saying, oh, well, it's not big enough or whatever. You're like, oh, so the size they told me is not true. Right? So you have to like kind of read them and adjust. Yeah. You need to adjust what they are telling you because not always, not purposely, but they're not always telling the truth.
And that's knowing their personalities and
Yeah.
knowing how to, stay in communication with them. Again, this course is going to teach you all of that stuff. You're a realtor for a reason. You already know what you're doing. You know what you have to do, but you're going to learn it how to do it better. Okay. Okay, so on the 4th. Okay, so your 4th is writing and negotiating contracts. This is the big responsibility and one that many new agents are concerned about. But you know what? It's not just new agents, it's too. Like contracts change so much. And we're brokered a lot. There's still contracts that come back to me. They're like, Allison, you missed this initial, or get this initial, or why is this, or why is that crossed out and not initial? So we're always learning, but contracts is where you want it. Okay, you want to make sure that you're getting to that stage, but all this work is getting you to that contract. And then the contract should be easy because you know how to write contracts. You have people here that will help you sit down with you and help you write that offer, whether you're nervous about the call or not, make the call. I still have very seasoned realtors call me and be like, how do I word this? Or I ask my team, like, what should I word this? So you're always learning that and learn about it.
And as a new agent, you're either assigned a mentor upon joining who will help you with this, or you're on a team and you have a rainmaker who will help you with this.
And go to the training.
And we have a broker team.
Gosh, that broker team, it's 24 hours of the day. So like at 9 o'clock when your clients are saying you need, look up who's working that night. And yeah, it sucks. It's 9 o'clock. You don't want to bug them, but you're writing that contract and you need to do it properly. Like really, you never want to be in real estate jail when it comes to contracts or, somebody coming back on you or you being, somebody calling the commission on you or whatever. Just make that a goal that your contracts are, when you get to that stage, that's where you want to be. So make sure you're doing it properly. Okay. Practice, calm, win-win.
Just to add, a lot of the times I get calls, people don't know how to write a clause.
Yeah.
Actually, web forms has them all.
Yes.
Just go to web forms and look at the clauses.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's so many tools out there that people either aren't aware of or don't use.
So remember, win-win is one of KW's beliefs. And do you know what we mean about KW's beliefs?
On the front wall.
Front wall, take a picture of it, put it in your phone, put it as your screensaver till you actually learn it. It's right at the front. And that is the beliefs of, our company and how you should follow them or learn them. You can talk about those. Right? So you can talk about those in your listing appointment and just say, people will ask you about your company and tell us a bit about your company. If you don't know what your company is all about, that's going to be tough too, because yes, you think that they're bringing you in for an interview because they're hiring you. Well, no, they're hiring your company too. So always know what your company offers. And, there's so many things that KW offers a customer or a client. So you need to know those. And when the beliefs are out on the front, and that's something you
Yeah.
can
And in the start of your book.
and make that part of your listing presentation or your buyer's consult, or this is what my company's beliefs are, and I want to share those with you. They'll love that. That's all fluff. It's good stuff.
Unless
right?
they're a D, then
Yeah.
they don't want to hear it.
If they're a D, just make sure you know the stats of the neighborhood they're looking in.
Could pick the sexy rack.
That's right. Okay, so your 5th is about getting that deal all the way to closing. Okay, so that's your goal for them and for you. Okay, so they're closing a house. That's the best day of their life. Getting there, they're closing. It's key day. It's like present day.
Mhm.
You're bringing them a present. Everybody's happy on closing day. You want to get,
They're either getting a bunch of money because they sold their house or they're getting a new house.
but you want to get paid because
Yeah,
it's a long time in the process. Sometimes, 62 days between the start of sometimes a year and a half by the time you started with them and they actually bought a house.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time to invest. So payday is a great day for you too. So don't you want to get there? Yes, you do.
My European friends mostly looks like
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
not in a year or two.
Right. So keep in mind that not all deals make it to closing. So, it took me a long time to know, I don't know, not show it on my face, the disappointment of, not getting that listing or, spending that money before it's even, my bank account. And that is your persona. So when you're in there and, you're being interviewed by three people are being interviewed and then they call you back and they say, no, I'm sorry, we chose so and so. It's happened to me a lot of times. And before I used to just cry and like my kids would be like, the next 2 days would be horrible because I didn't get that listing. Well, now I move on. Okay. And I figure out why I didn't get it so I can perfect it for the next time. Or if the buyers decided to buy with somebody else, well, I'm not pushing them on Facebook and being mean to their family around the corner because they didn't choose me. No, I'm going to kill them with kindness because guess what happens? Don't be disappointed. Pick yourself up, straighten your back and move on.
There's also times that won't get to closing for other reasons. You might work with a buyer. They might tell you they're pre-approved. And then you write a contract, get an accepted offer. Guess what? They can't afford a house.
Yep.
Sucks.
It will happen.
It's part of
It
the
will
business.
happen. It will happen. Okay. And it's part of the business.
Yeah. So that being said, also when you start working the new buyer, make sure that they're pre-approved. Well, so I heard when I first started here, I heard the buyers who are like, oh no, it's fine. I don't need to get pre-approved. I know I can afford this, are hardly ever approved. And the people who are like, I don't know if I can buy a house. I don't know. They're always like slam dunk. Why are you even worried about this? So just if you hear, oh no, I don't need to get pre-approved. I know it's fine. Push them to get a pre-approval.
And that's part of your job too. So, you can ask questions about that to make sure, listen, do you need me to speak to your mortgage broker? And sometimes that's a-okay. And it's great. Like you're protecting yourself too, because if you're 1 year showing them houses and you get to paper and they can't finance it, well, there's 1 year, 1 year's worth of gas money, 1 year's worth of your time, and your time is super valuable. So make sure that your ducks are in a row when it comes to that, and asking questions and caring, part of it. That's part of all of this. This is what we're teaching you. You got to care. So that's all okay.
I just wanted to share quickly, mentor Justin and I made screenshots of emails that people send us back when I say, look, you send me a screenshot. People will do that. It's just like, oh, it dodged.
Yeah.
Can you send me a screenshot or I'll call you or just to make sure we're
Yeah.
good. If they tell you off, talk.
You're gonna learn.
Happy to.
You're-
learn to ask the answer questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
Right.
pre-approved? Yes. Great.
Of course you are.
Does RBC need me to check in with them? Is there any questions that she might have or he might have? I have a really good relationship with the mortgage broker that I use all the time. And he's very good about giving me an update, so that you're not, and I don't want to say wasting your time because there's always, sometimes you can think outside the box at the end of the day, but don't waste your time. Like make sure that that's part of your BA forms when you're sitting in front of them and just be like, tell me who you're pre-approved with. Why don't you just get me that letter? Then we can have it on file. Does it mean that that's going to be the be all end all? No, because then they have to submit everything to the underwriter.
Mhm. And then they might buy a truck,
Yeah.
but
I buy a truck and it kind of screws up their ratios and all that stuff. So things happen, but you have to know what to tell them. Like, okay, so now you're dedicated to me in this process and you want to buy a condo or a house. Well, guess what? You're not buying that boat that you want this summer. Let's hold off on that. Let's get your credit cards paid. Like those are things that you can help them figure out
Mhm.
by working with their mortgage broker or their mortgage contact. It doesn't mean you can't ask those questions. Your time is valuable. Okay. Okay, so the sixth and final one is about managing your money. I already learned from day one that your paycheck you get upon closing is not to be put in your pocket and spent. Look, we want that day. Some people spend it before they even get it.
Mhm.
Okay, but remember, you're just starting out. Take a portion of it. Buy yourself that Lululemon sweater. That's your your gift for your first closing. That's wonderful. Then take the other $2,000 and put it in your fund for keeping going, or your bills or whatever. Like you got to figure out how to manage that, because we all know that it could be one closing a month and not again until 4 months down the road. So you got to be careful when it comes to that stuff. And you never want your clients to see that worry on your face
Mhm.
ever when you're sitting in front of them and be like, because I have to pay my mortgage next month. Like, don't let them know that. Like, just be confident and get the listing and then go home and be like, oh, thank God. Oh my God. Okay. Because we have to live. Life happens and we all get that. But this is where you learn.
Every person who said it, you have to be like ducks, serenely going one path.
I love
So
that.
true. And so
Look calm on on the outside, but underneath you're like, "Bah."
yeah, don't let them know that. Don't let them know that. But anyways, again, what we've already talked about your taxes and you're building your fund to fund your business moving forward
Mhm.
and make sure do it in your journal or in your spreadsheet, but most importantly, meet with Erin and go over that and how this can move forward in an easier way for you to successful so that I can see you next year sitting here and 23 years down the road from now that you're still sitting here. I'm still sitting here because I paid my bills and CRA gets paid and God knows I don't want to pay that, but I have to. And you're learning that stuff over time. And my business wouldn't have excelled forward if I didn't invest into my business. And you have to do that. You just can't get that first paycheck and then go downtown for 6 days and, party. And this is great because I did that too. Okay. I was 21 years old when, probably got my first paycheck as a commissioned real estate agent. And I probably spent it at the bar. That's just reality. And we all have to have a life and be happy and, be careful, be safe about it and be confident about it and meet with Erin and get that in order. Okay. And there's a great KWU course for you to take called Profitability, Agent Financials. We offer
What we
it.
did last week.
Yep. So next time it comes out, just again, every course, put it in your calendar for the week.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit. Find an accountability partner. You're all assigned mentors. You also have Jill. But maybe you'll meet someone throughout the next month and hear that you clicked with and you can meet with them. Then you're like level playing field. Not that it's competition, but like level playing field, both same amount of experience. You're kind of going through the same things, right? So you can share goals with each other, hold each other accountable. You can practice scripts with each other, like we talked about. Um, Even just like, oh, I did an open house last weekend and this happened. I didn't know what to do. How would you deal with that? What would you do? Right? Things like that. Many, many agents have accountability partners. My husband's in an accountability group. He and Janice Ching and Susan Young meet once a month at a coffee shop, talking about their goals, how they did the last month to meet those goals, things like that.
And again, I keep stressing this because it's a good point. I am 23 years in this business and I meet with Phyllis Johnson every
Yeah.
single Monday morning. We talk on the phone, we talk about our week. She gives me pointers, I give her pointers, and she's my accountability partner. It's really super important. Like just to have that, to bounce something off of somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
It can be a very lonely business. Can be very lonely. If you're not coming into the office and doing things, coming to trainings, coming to meetings, there's an agent I've been here for 15 years. He lives in Bedford, I think, maybe Sackville. He was here before I started here and I've laid eyes on him twice. Like he just doesn't come in.
Come to the monthly meetings. You
Yeah.
get a nice lunch.
Yeah.
You get to meet people and see their
Meet
faces
people.
and talk about the stats of the company and everything that's on those slides are such good information. And it's an hour out of your day? That's in your calendar now.
Yeah.
Every
And it's only once a
single month. It's once a month. Okay. Just make the time. It's in your calendar. It's there. So the bold laws for Keller Williams, I follow them faithfully. I post them on our closed Facebook group all the time because I'm a firm believer in them. Every single bold law that you learn and go look them up. Keller Williams bold laws will relate to your business. Okay. And they are super important to follow for culture, for your life, for your kids, for your husbands, for everybody. If you follow those bold laws, then you're leading what our culture is all about. And there's nothing nothing wrong with posting them on social media and being like, this is my word of the day. And then you're teaching other people to do it. Okay. Like my culture committee, I'm so glad I got involved with it. I wish that you all could join my culture committee because it talks about care and compassion and just being a better person all around. And that's what's going to help you with your business too. Nobody wants to hire or call the person who's constantly complaining on Facebook about their life and their husbands and their uncle and the bird down the street and the woodpecker that's out in the tree. Like nobody wants to hire you. They want to see that you're a good person. And
Positive.
yeah, positive and know what you're, like you're going to be there and be positive.
But yeah, just be careful because this can be a very lonely business. So make sure you don't get isolated, stay involved.
Talk about this. We're almost done.
Sure. Yeah, this is the end.
We're doing good, guys. So the second activity on the daily success.
We're not using that.
We're not doing it?
Yeah, like success track.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyways, we'll just talk about adding contacts.
Yeah.
To your database daily. That's important too. You want to grow your database, make that part of your lead gen, make that a part of your yearly goals. Every January, I kind of sit down and look at my year and try to figure out how I can make my sphere bigger. And part of this is that adding contacts. So, you meet somebody on Sunday morning at a coffee, something or other, and they're now your contact. Okay. Or somebody's adding you to Facebook. Well, add them. That's great. They want to add you to Facebook. Well, then there's another person that, you're getting databases right in front of you and you're posting stuff and they're seeing it. So, all of this stuff is good. Make that part of your week. Nobody's saying that you have to every day be like 10 more people, but how about one?
Mhm.
How about one a day? That's not hard to do. Adding one person a day. Now I'm going to add you guys because now we're friends. Okay. So that these are all good things for you to see what other people are doing, what they're doing on their social media. Umi's is great. I watch her every single day. I always said to somebody the other day, Brenda Kay has the best videos. So I love watching them. She's teaching me. We're all teaching each other. So contacts is contacts. Be us. It could be, somebody in the community. It could be somebody's sister, whatever. It doesn't matter. Contact. Make that part of your everyday.
I like you tweet touches.
Yeah, I know. That's part of my lead gen too. Yeah, I just liking, messaging. Congratulations on your job. Happy birthday. How's the house? Did you get settled? Like you're not going to close that house and be like, hi, never talk to them again. Like a month later, be like, are you settled? Are you settled? Anything that I can do? Like just keep following up. Things you're going to learn in Ignite. Start your business. We're just here to sort of give you a little presentation overview of what is going to happen. And then everybody who you meet along the way is going to dig deeper into that stuff.
So the rest of the sessions are more in depth into what we just kind of gave an overview on. So if you do want to do a little activity, does everybody have the Command app on their phone? You can very simply import your phone contacts into Command. That's gonna start building your database in Command. From when you were here last, probably, yes. So does anybody not have the Command app? Yeah, just told me about it.
Only getting my own print day after.
Okay, yeah. I think, oh, you do? Okay, cool. So once you're logged into the app, if you click on the second button at the bottom, that looks like a silhouette of a person, it's your contacts. And in the top right corner, there's the 3 dots. You click that, you can click import contacts. It's going to pull every contact on your phone into Command. It should, yeah. So you may or may not want to do that, up to you. Some people like to clean up their phone before doing it. But it's that simple. And yes, you can import spreadsheets. We had that question already. So yeah, there's easy ways to build your database from the beginning. And then as you go, you'll kind of be adding them as you go on, right? As you meet people. Do we have any ahas from today? An aha is like a light bulb moment.
That's all right, it's taped.
We recorded.
You can go back and listen to what we rambled on about for the first 2 hours later.
Although Umi could teach this.
Oh, that's right. And that's your 7 o'clock tonight. 1 hour. You're catching back up.
Can you find the videos to watch afterwards?
So we have a YouTube channel. Jess will show it to you in your onboarding.
You're gonna learn a lot on your onboarding.
Yes.
There's so much.
I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, perfect. And the closed Facebook group, if you're not a part of it, get to be
Yes.
a part of it
Yes,
because
yes, yes.
there's so many good updates in there and reminders, like you said, reminders. Yeah,
Keller Williams Select Realty.
yeah, good.
I think somebody has to invite you. Yeah.
We have to approve you, yeah.
We'll approve you, we promise.
I think I made a post about it too.
You're welcome to help me anytime you want, just message
Somebody
me.
needs to invite me, yeah. What's your Facebook,
Go to this.
ID? I'll look at it.
Definitely.
I came out.
But when I was to KW, I was surprised at how friendly everybody was, and I find if you call a KW agent, they want, they'll be more than happy, you get stuck with something.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're trying to get through to the broker,
I
and
did.
it takes time, just call another agent.
We're all here, always.
How many times have I called you?
A lot, and I love it. I think it's great.
Allison, you're this agent, I don't understand.
I welcome the call anytime at all. We're all learning we're all learning with each other, so that's a good thing. You know, even for this course, like you're gonna learn a lot in this
Yeah.
course. It's such a good course.
And like we said, it's all very experienced agents teaching it, so they all have firsthand experience. I think Jess and I are the only two that teach that are not licensed.
Does anybody online want to share your ahas? Well, I know you have some.
I got it. Perfect.
No? They all gone?
There's still
Still
6
7
of them
people
there.
Okay.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
I loved the breakdown of like the commission versus the expenses versus like your net income, like what you want to like bring in at the end of the year. It gave a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
If you have a goal of like whether it's like 70 or 50,000, realize that you need to sell like 24 houses or whatnot.
Right.
It was a cool little template. I mean, I know it'll vary depending on commission rates, etc. But is there a template
Yeah.
on somewhere online or somewhere that you have that we can sort of
I
plug in
can
our numbers?
share a spreadsheet to you. We did the course last week. Umi was in it. It was way more in depth than what we touched on today. But yeah, I can definitely share it to you. It's 4 tabs of a spreadsheet. So it starts out with the KW budget model. And it really just talks about like, okay, what are your goals for your listing income and your buyer income? So you fill those in at the top. And then it breaks down every single expense item that could exist in your world. And as a new agent, 90% of those expenses won't exist. So it's okay that they're left blank. But it really opens your eyes to all the things that might exist. So you fill all that out and work out how much it costs you to run your business. And then the second tab is an example. Here, let me just pull it up. Here.
Look, there's that's what I gotta do today. Not on my phone like you all have it on. Oh, I know, it's so
So you
weird.
go teach the whole course. It's going to be
No, so there will be a different teacher on every course. Yeah, no problem. This is the only one I teach, but I do plan to attend. courses.
Okay, so this is the spreadsheet that I've mentioned a few times. So at the most left column is your budget. So those are like your guesses. So your listing income and buyer income would be your goals of how much you want to bring in. And then it goes into cost of sales. So for most people, it's going to be your split to the office and the royalty to the office. And then it goes into every single piece of, what could be expenses, so salaries. When you're starting out, you're probably not paying anybody a salary. So you can skip that, it's probably zero for everybody on this call. But then we get into the lead generation costs. So offline advertising, are you putting a billboard up somewhere? Do you have your face in a hockey rink? Like, right? So something like that. Online advertising, are you running social media ads like Chris does? So put in your budget there for all of these items. And then we go over to the economic model, and Sarah, this is kind of what you were just speaking about. So what do you want your net income to be? So if you want to take home at the end of the day $100,000 and you have $20,000 worth of expenses, because we just did the budget on the first sheet, so we figured out how much we're going to spend this year. When cost of sales is 30,000, means you need to, your gross income needs to be 150. You want to end the day with 100 and you're going to spend 50, you need to make 150. Your average commission is 7,000. Means you need to do 21.4 units. And then this one takes it a step further, so it breaks it into listings and buyers. So as a new agent, most of your business starts with buyers. So this might be 75% buyers and 25% listings. If you're Allison, well, actually, you're probably still 50-50, but you do a ton of listings. So it might be 60% listings, 40% buyers, whatever it is. Then it talks about your conversion rate. So, how many buyers do you convert actually close, right? So, or do you, conversion sold? How many buyers do you need to sign to actually close? And then it goes, so if you need 12.9 buyers, means you need to sign 21.4. Your conversion rate is 60. And then how many percent of your appointments do you convert into a contract? So if 80% of appointments you go on turn into a signed contract, that means you need to go on 26.8 appointments.
That is, do we set a conversion?
Yes, and as a new agent,
It's gonna be hard.
it's gonna be hard. Yeah,
Give yourself some time, give
Yeah.
yourself the time to figure that out. Don't let this scare you.
yeah, this is very in-depth for a new
Eventually
agent.
make this part of your program, like
Right.
your,
Can we
Yeah.
get a copy of this?
Yeah, I can share it to you
Yeah.
for sure.
And I was talking to Jillian the other day and she was saying that I could build in the goals and everything in Command as well.
Yeah,
So,
you can.
okay.
And then the next couple of tabs are just kind of summaries of the first tabs, a little less overwhelming, less categories. Yeah, I can share that to you guys.
When we figure out the spreadsheet, I want.
Yes. So actually, in our session that we had last week, it came up that it would be good if we could track expenses monthly. So we added this portion. So when you know, okay, in January, I made $7,000 from listings, you fill it in and it's gonna come over to this actual column for your annual. You can kind of fill it in monthly as you go.
As you're starting to, just be aware of everything that you're spending and maybe, in your brain, you're gonna go, oh, I'm not going to Jack Astor's this month. I'm gonna put that into build my account for my business. Okay. So like just little things like that over time and you change what you're doing is going to help all these numbers and make this part of your next year.
Yes.
Like you're just starting.
Yeah.
Don't let that overwhelm you. Get situated, figure out the training here, figure out, your onboarding and what you should be looking at. And then, the NSAR dashboard is such a good tool to go in there and see what they're offering every day, take that hour in the afternoon and do a course through them. Do your courses here. All that stuff is going to help you build.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about how many numbers you have
No.
the first week you're licensed.
No,
Because
definitely not.
you're all newer and you're just learning all of this stuff. This still scares me. I want to run out of this room right now. But again, it's got to be part of your future plan. So you must have D in you. I have absolutely no D in my personality. I'm just like, I live day by day. I want to fly up the seat of my pants. I'm running around the community, but again, This is where I rely on her to kind of keep me grounded and tell me what I should be doing and hold my money and keep my, HST and do that stuff so I don't get myself in trouble. But again, you have so many awesome tools here to launch your career forward. And I have worked 3 brokerages in this city, and I will tell you that my career really didn't start until I started working at Keller Williams because of the training. And I was in it for a long time. Okay, but I was just, figuring out what to do. And I didn't have, the training. Yes, I worked with wonderful realtors, but they were successful. And I was like, doing what Umi says. I was like, trying to figure it out. So, but Keller Williams offers that tools to you. Use them. All my advice to you is just use them.
Just a question, because you guys been in this business so long, so have you seen new realtors come in and not be remotely successful in your house?
1,000%.
100%.
That's
Or
great.
the next year they're not even
Yeah.
existing. Not, I mean,
Yeah.
they're existing, but they're not in real estate anymore. So,
Remember our
yeah.
first slide? It said anyone can do it, but not everyone will. 1,000%. There's so many
It's still
people.
okay to be a realtor, like, stay at it.
Yeah,
Right.
but if you're not applying
It's
yourself,
expensive. Your fees every month that you're paying, and you have your quarterly dues, and you have your relicensing fees and your errors and emissions insurance. If you're paying those and you're not working, what are you paying for? You're
Yeah.
throwing money away.
It's not how it's working. but,
Yeah.
Like, it's not yielding to what it could
if you're working at will though,
reveal.
yeah.
My first year in real estate, I worked for that person. And I did, I barely just made enough to pay, as you said, all the
100%.
theatrical.
Yeah.
My second year, I started making money that I took home, but my third year, I never.
Yeah. You got to get through
I
that.
couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
It was- Got a key.
Yes. And it's because it's such a people business, so much of your business will come from referrals. Allison said the majority of her business is referrals. When you're new, it's harder to get the referrals. Like it takes time. It does for sure.
Ignite's going to teach you all the tools to start and to what you should be doing. Like I could sit here and talk to you about socializing and open houses and all of that stuff. If you don't put that into play and you're just not doing it, you're not working. It's the bottom line. If you're not doing it, you're not working. Our job is to just work all the time. And it doesn't mean that you have to work for, 10 hours a day, but you kind of do. You're always working. I say to my clients all the time, like they'll message me at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, I could put on that do not disturb thing on my phone, but then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But you might not want to be disturbed until after your children go to school at
Yeah.
8:30, and that's your business. That's totally fine. But then from 8:30 to 4:30 or 5:30 or 8:30, you have to work.
Yeah. There's a fine line. We're standing here telling you that you have to work, but you also need to set boundaries with clients. But it's 2 ways for sure. You can very easily tell someone, oh, I'm not available at that time. I have an appointment. And that appointment might be taking your son to hockey, right? Like you're still allowed to live your life and set boundaries with clients, but you also have to put in the work.
I also sometimes just say, I'm taking a deal. But see, like tomorrow in Chicago, I'm not working.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say the things I bring up very frequently with my coach Jillian is it is so hard to trust the process when you're not seeing results.
For sure.
Because I'm like, do it now, see the results now person.
But never when you start a business.
Right,
Just have to go.
exactly.
Take
Right.
time.
Oh, and in my first year I did wins. I had one.
That's not.
Actually, yeah, so 2 wins and I sold 1 listing that will never sell.
And I did too.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
And-
there. I was there.
Yes, I know, and it's
And
frustrating.
that's okay, like,
Yes, it's
you're such a
perfectly okay.
time, so,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's been a long period, I'm not doing anything, and I'm like, yeah, gotta trust the process. And it's hard, but going through that, the way I thought I was going to approach this business, not how I'm approaching it now. Because, those slow periods, you get to talk to your coaches and say, what could I do? What should I stop doing? What could I do better? What training do I need? And yeah, so give yourself grace.
Mm.
It
Patience.
will take time,
Mm.
even full timers.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
From a dual career, it's just that much harder.
after so many years, if on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon I'm free, then what am I doing? What are they doing at open house? And I should have, posted,
Yeah.
but of course it's always too late by then.
Yeah.
But enjoy it.
Yep, should.
What are you doing on a week?
If you're too worried to do them, go with somebody else. Partner up. You have 2 hours in that house to run scripts with
Yeah.
each other, right? Practice what you're gonna say. Yeah, like you two go together, do something. Hey, want to meet up? Allison has an open house on Sunday. I don't want to go alone. I'll go with you. Do it. Awesome. Then you're learning from each other. It's just the way
And you're always a little more confident if someone else is with you, right?
you got somebody to talk to and, ideas.
But you have the big crowd. Like, don't look up, very big, big. If I am a tourist. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to have your reason why. And again, take that book that we suggested. And I'm not trust me, I'm farthest person from pushing the stuff on you and the rah and all that stuff. But that there's things here that really will benefit you. If you read one chapter a night, it's going to give you some insight. Like everybody's talking about Mel Robbins, the One Thing book, and they're reading it. Well, read the One Thing from Gary Keller because
Mhm.
that's your business. He's teaching you, he is the leader of our company and he's teaching you how to be a realtor. Do it, read it, one chapter, even if it's a week, push yourself to do it. Go to an open house, cover somebody's open house and bring the book with you. You're going to be quiet, maybe have an hour to read that. You just have to just keep learning, keep being a sponge and learning. I'm still doing it. I'm still learning from everybody how to be better at my job because we can all be better at our jobs too.
And you said you have children, that's your best. Yeah, talk to all the parents, go to school, talk to the teachers.
You'll learn in that book what your one thing is, and I have said it, and I have actually written on, little cards and they're in my wallet. And the one thing for me has always been my kids. One of my very first real estate signs, my daughter is in the picture. She was like 18 months old and she's standing beside the real estate sign. And I post that photo all the time because it reminds me she's 25 now. And I'm like, oh, this is super cool. You were 2. And she looks so sweet. And it's my first little real estate sign. And I don't even know if my name is on the sign. I think it was Sandra Bryant's sign, but it just reminds me of like all the stuff that I
Yeah.
went through at the time. My daughter was 2. I was starting this business. I was a single mom and she was 2. And like, that's overwhelming. And I'm still here because I just kept working.
Yeah, kids is a great way to lead generate. Our mortgage broker, he's like, oh my God, having kids is the best thing that ever happened for my business. He's like, they're in like sport, the hockey and rugby
Yeah.
and like every sport. And he's like, I just go talk to the parents and I never have to do anything else for lead generation. Like,
You're part of those groups. Join the groups, join
Yeah.
the Facebook groups, join your community groups or your apartment building groups. I don't know. Join them. Who cares?
go serve a meal at the Legion. They're always looking for volunteers to,
Volunteering
Yeah.
is a wonderful way, but
Yeah.
not only for you as your culture and what we were taught here. It's you meet people and you
Yeah.
see people and it just makes you happy to get out in the community. So many things you will learn in this course. That's it. Pretty simple. Okay.
I think one I took
Oh.
away.
Oh, you,
okay.
okay, yeah, sorry. I thought you were looking up there just to say somebody
Just a
was.
disembodied
Yeah.
voice. Yeah, one of the ahas I took away and realized until we talked on it a bunch here is in those little support circles. Me like going, maybe not focused so much because I'm not a very focused realtor, but like I'm in a WhatsApp group with 8 people that we graduated and got licensed at the same time. We're all a bunch of newbies, even though we're tackling stuff differently.
Yeah.
It's because you will feel so many times that you fail. Like one of my colleagues said, "Man, I did an open house with 0 people." I said, "I did 2 open houses this weekend with 0 people."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you do. Yes, it's a reality.
Yeah.
So if you, especially, and a lot of them are not in the city area,
Mhm.
and they feel the remoteness even more acutely.
for sure.
So to be find a little tribe.
Yeah.
Of other realtors.
How about join a committee here? That's a tribe. That's a
Mhm.
tribe of
Oh, yeah.
people, right? You're joining a committee, you're, bouncing ideas off of other realtors too. That
You do
helps.
not have to be an experienced realtor.
No,
No.
definitely not. You're on a few this year. Yeah.
No idea what.
But you're learning. right? Learning.
Yeah.
You want to join my committee, it'll teach you how to be compassionate and care about people, and that's huge in this industry too. It's huge. And we have fun. We actually
snacks.
plan all of your social events every month, and we have snacks, and it's great. But those are committees that you can join in your company to start, okay?
Yes,
You teach,
NSAR.
he teaches me a lot from his posts on Facebook. I'm learning from him, and he's new, but I'm learning from him too. So
If I ever need an open house, I know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
again, we all have to help each other. So that's what we're
Yeah.
here for.
Yeah, because it looks like everyone's successful, like, I think Blue May post, I'm like, not a closing, what?
Yeah, that's
But,
great.
we're happy for her, but I'm like, doing, but then.
No, you're
you talk to people on a personal level.
And I will say this
Oh,
over and
for
over
sure.
again. I felt that way after a year too. When I was doing this, that's how I felt. I don't even know if I had 2 deals in my first year. I'm not even sure. I might have had 1. I don't know. Can't remember back to that, but I remember struggling and being like, is this really what I want to do?
You just have to persevere. Even when you feel like you're not going anywhere, you have to persevere because it will come. It will come.
It will.
We can't say that, oh, I worked 4 hours yesterday, I'm taking today. Because it's not a job.
Mhm. That's it's not hard work. It's hard to do the work because you don't have to be accountable to anybody.
Be accountable to somebody.
Yes. And your
And
family
not
at the very
say
least.
that I will call Phyllis every Monday morning. I did this morning on the way here. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing this week. I have a team. I'm accountable to my team every day. Don't get me wrong. We have a really good thing going. We check in with each other. We all run our own separate businesses. It's all great, but we have each other to, get some support. But Phyllis is my outside person, and she's like, what are you doing this week? Tell me what you're doing, what you're closing, what are you working towards? And I do the same thing for her. So pick somebody that you feel comfortable kind of shooting the shit with and talking about what you're going to do that week. And then at the end of the week, I would call you and be like, check it all off. Hey, did you get that done? What did you do? Like, that's an accountability
Yeah.
person.
You also have Jill and a mentor. Those as well.
Other than the company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the first hour we were talking about it. There's nobody that socializes more than me. And I love it. And I get a lot of business from it, but I also have fun with it. I love it. Yes.
You're a cool star.
We're socializing. So right now, starting off, I'm gonna be dual career.
Yeah.
However, my other career, not that it's like conflict interest, so I account manager for TK Elevator. So a large part of my job is going to get events like BOMA, COVID, so then I get to kind of mingle in. Like when you're at eventually, I see I'm going to represent my current company, but like, how do you eventually kind of transition that to? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
I
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You.
I think it's great.
recognize me as one of the manager for my current company.
Yeah.
And then obviously eventually I'll just be a
Right.
real estate agent. Just kind of transitioning for like some of those people. I mean,
Be proud of it though.
Yeah.
Tell them, be like,
Yeah.
I'm a realtor now. It's awesome. That's
Everyone
great.
says
Yeah.
what's new.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's new? Oh, I got my real estate license.
And that's my conversation.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks. It's you in your life. It's
Yeah.
They're your sphere.
Yeah.
They're your sphere now.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my husband works for your company.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does. Yeah, he's an elevator mechanic for TK. He's worked there for 18 years. But anyways, that's your new sphere.
Yeah.
That's your new sphere.
Yeah.
Like those are people that you are gonna know, oh my God, she's a realtor too, but
Yeah.
you're doing both your jobs.
Yeah.
If you're doing them both well, they're not gonna
Exactly, yeah.
interfere with each
No,
other.
exactly, yeah.
But that Christmas party can be something that you're talking about.
I think that's great for you. Such an opportunity.
Yeah, elevator, yeah, there, so.
I started this camp for an NSAR board meeting. He remembers.
Amazing. There you go.
Oh.
See, there you go. Sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And he carried it on. He was-
That's so
I
funny.
think that's great.
I think you will perfect that phrase.
Yeah.
Like, there be, this is probably, way better, this
Yeah.
actually know way better, you can. Slow it on though.
Start
Start
with
with him.
events, because I would go previously with TK and then now Pillar's agent. Like to kind of transition, I guess.
Yeah.
one through the other.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Just test it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Facebook events. Go to them.
Yeah, 100%. I don't miss an event in my community. I love it. I'm just like, "Ooh, this is great.
Allison goes on the senior walks in our community.
I go on a senior walk, no joke, I'm the youngest person there. And they love it, they think it's great. Every Monday afternoon, I go on the senior walk. Actually, Holly does too, so it's not just me.
Well, it fits the age group a little
Yeah, sure.
better.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Senior walks?
Senior, Allison goes on the senior.
Oh, yeah.
Community
Yeah.
events for sure. All right,
Oh, we will not go into a senior walk.
May 1st, our AGM is coming up. My community AGM is on Monday or Thursday night. Okay, to go to it. You just got it.
Dance night, or a Zumba night, not a senior walk.
Mhm. Senior walks are nice. It's actually for the mental health. They're really nice.
And your brain works best there.
All right, does anybody have any questions online?
I just want to ask you, you said you're gonna share the spread, the Excel.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do that via email?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, and enjoy the course. Yeah, very good. Good start.
So I'm not sensitive. It was nasty.